What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Tottenham won, Sunderland won. Another damaging result for Tottenham Hotspur. After such a positive first half, you know, we spoke about the lineup. It showed a bit of ambition, having Kudus in the 10 and two wingers out there instead of someone like Archie Gray, who's more of a deeper player and playing in the 10s. And I thought it looked better from the off. You know, you saw intent, you saw desire, you saw pressing from the front. The amount of times that Spurs were winning it high up the pitch, in the middle third, looked so aggressive, looked so on it. Look, I still thought there was a lack of quality in terms of the forward players to really hurt Sunderland on a consistent basis in terms of wave after wave of attack. But it looked good, man. It looked good in that first half. And it's such a shame what had to happen, because that first half performance, I thought we could have been more than 1-0 up, and we probably should have been 1-0 up. And I kept saying, we need that second goal. We need that second goal. If we don't get the second goal, this ain't going to end well for us. And look, that's exactly what happened. And look, I thought the game maybe started to turn a little bit when Kudus went off injured, because Mwani came on, and I don't think he added what Kudus was adding for us in the middle of the park, albeit Kudus wasn't too involved, but he's an aggressive presence in the middle of the park there and was able to hang on to the ball and bring others into play. And I said as well at half-time, you know, I think it's going to be really hard for us to keep up that intensity and that desire. And I think that's what came to pass. You know, when you're on top as much as we were on top, and we dominated them in the first half, we were controlling the game and we were creating chances. But if you don't kill the game whilst you're on top, you always leave yourself in this position. And I felt going into the second half, it was way too negative from Tottenham Hotspur, and we let Sunderland come on to us. We let them have a route back into the game. And it was no surprise they scored when they did. You know, you've got to put your hands up, because it was an unbelievable goal that Sunderland scored, unbelievable team goal. But it's not good enough from Tottenham, the way we managed that game in the second half. You know, we're all full of praise in the first half, the way we were managing it. But second half, we just weren't in the game. You know, we were relying on counter-attacks and relying on little moments to potentially hurt this Sunderland team. But it looked like we were just hanging on for the majority of that second half. And against a Sunderland team who are obviously a defence-first team and a very solid team, we did very well in the first half, but we weren't at the races in the second. And it really pissed me off, because that game was there for the taking today.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Like I said, from the line-up straight away, he showed a lot of changes, Thomas Frank. And we came out the complete opposite of what we saw against Brentford. We were attacking, we were physical, we were all energy. We were playing so well in periods of that game, total control of it, took the lead. Obviously the Kudus injury, we never know what kind of impact that has made, but then second half, so deflating is the only word I can use, so deflating. And do you know what it is? We had a couple of chances, just poor decision making with that ball from Richarlison to Mwani, taking that extra touch. The ball from Porro to Mwani, where Mwani has a bad touch. We just invited pressure onto ourselves, and it was coming. And like you said, we were hanging on, and the energy and intensity in the second half was nowhere near, not even 50% of what we saw in the first half. You could see that goal was coming. Brodbury was just was causing mayhem and trying to start it just ruffling a few feathers, wasn't he? And they get that opportunity, and it had been coming. They took it, and even after they took it and they went, it only looked like there was going to be one winner, didn't it?
Yeah,
there was no will and desire to try and get that second goal. I mean, nothing sums it up more than that Lucas Bergvall foul throw. But it just goes to show from that first half performance, which was fantastic compared to what we've seen. Like you said, we need to make those chances count. Yes, we were the firepower at top. The quality is missing for all to see. It's fairly obvious. But Terran Odebert did well, and we should have taken some of these chances. We needed to create more clear-cut chances in that first half, and we've paid the price. And like I said, the word for it is just so deflated. So deflated.
Yeah, it is, because, you know, we thought Spurs had responded to a poor performance at Brentford, right? And it looked like we have responded. You know, we came out with intent and desire, and the aggressive nature in that first half was brilliant and there for all to see. But if this game doesn't highlight the lack of quality that we have up top, I don't know what does, because as much as we were on top, we didn't create too much. And the goal we scored was from a corner, obviously, Romero, Van de Ven to Ben Davis.
Yep.
And by the way, Ben Davis, I thought was absolutely
Incredible.
brilliant today, particularly in the first half.
Yep.
Nothing got past him defensively. He was a threat going forward as well, linked up well with Matisse Tell on that left-hand side. But when you're looking at our forward players, Odegaard, I thought he put in some great energy and was physical, and he won the ball back countless of times, but he wasn't able to create too many chances. Matisse Tell was busy down that left-hand side, but he didn't create too much. Richarlison, again, was busy, but didn't impact too much in terms of creating chances. Muani, I thought, was pretty poor today, and he didn't do much. So you're talking about the attacking players that we got and how well we played. Yeah, fine, we played well and we showed some effort, but that should be the bare minimum, what we saw today in the first half. Pressing high, winning the ball high up the pitch, Bentancur in the middle of the park, gobbling everything up, Romero and Van de Ven pressing high and winning the ball back and stepping in front of the midfielders. These things should be the bare minimum, and then you should create chances on top of that. So as well as we played in the first half, it's still not what we want to see in terms of being able to create and hurt the opposition consistently, because what clear-cut chance did we actually create? I mean, we scored from a corner, but I'm talking about from open play.
I can't recall one. I mean, you look at, like I said, Odegaard does some really good work on the pitch, apart from the area where he's meant to do the most damage and meant to cause trouble. Richarlison, who I think was so much better defensively for us at set pieces today than he was in the position he should be in. And Tell, who... Look, he looked lively in the first half. He really did look lively in the first half, but again, not in the areas to cause trouble. He had that curling shot and the long shot, but then in the second half phased out. And when you look at the quality that we need up top, it's just not there. And what do you expect when you've got a lineup of Tell, Richarlison, Odegaard, or you add Muani to that, who cannot score a goal for us in the Premier League?
We might have scored a goal if bloody someone put
Richarlison crossed that ball in. I mean, Richarlison taking that extra touch when Muani was open and free. I don't understand why he's taking that extra touch. Just poor decision making, isn't it?
No, very much so, very much so. And that's going to be the story of this game, because, look, Sunderland were there for the taking in the first half, particularly the way we were just on top of them, we were hounding them, we were winning the ball back. But we just couldn't hurt them as much as our performance deserved, to be honest. And that goes to a clear lack of quality in the forward line. We've sold Brennan Johnson. Kudus goes off injured now. Yep. We've got no natural right winger in the squad. So, like, what are we supposed to do in terms of being able to hurt oppositions and create chances? Like, I thought Thomas Frank got the tactics spot on in the first half, but in the second half, I thought he got it all wrong. We sat off them way too much. We retreated, and we basically said, "Look, here you go, Sunderland. Come and get back in the game." And that's exactly what they did. They took the invitation and they said, "Thank you very much." And we were lucky probably for them not to go and win the game. They were much the better team in the second half. As much as we were on top of them in the first half, they were on top of us in the second half. And the second half, that's where it really matters. And if, like I said, you've got to take your chance. You've got to create chances while you're on top, and you've got to hurt the opposition.
Yep.
And we hurt them, but we didn't create too much. And that's going to be the biggest story of the game. So we need to dip in the market this January and get in some quality players in the forward line. Otherwise, performances like this, however aggressive you are going to keep happening, and we're going to keep dropping points.
Yeah, I think, like you said, dipping in the market is an understatement. I think if you look at the games, if you look at Palace, if you look at Brentford, if you look at this, there's no cutting edge, is there? There's no cutting edge. We're lacking that X factor, and we need to find it and find it quick. Like you said, people will go, here he goes, Brian with Frank. I think, like you said, he came in for a lot of criticism, even from me, and rightfully so for Brentford. Made some big changes, changed the style of play. First half, Sunderland weren't poor because they were shit. We made them look poor because we were good. And Sunderland just kept, in the second half, just drilling away at us. And then they got the sucker punch came and they got us. And like you said, it's a fantastic goal. You could have had Vicario and Kinski in that goal.
You can't at home go and try and hang on to a 1-0 lead against Sunderland.
That's what I'm saying.
You cannot do that, man.
Mate, wholeheartedly, 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. That we just ran out of steam, dropped off, invited pressure onto ourselves, which is on the manager. And then, like I said, the moments we could have had something up there was a lack of quality up top. So, just so, like I said, I'm going to keep saying this word probably during the fan show. It's just so deflating.
Yeah.
Because you see so much work has gone into correcting that Brentford performance, and to just suck a punch like that, it was coming. We saw it. Even when we brought Paulinho, I'm thinking, okay, shore it up. He did have a good showing today. He didn't have a good showing today, so it's just a shame. And Porro tired, didn't he?
Look, I thought Porro had a good first half.
Very good.
Non-existent in the second half. His passing, again, like how many times are we going to talk about Porro's passing this season? It's just something that's creeped into his game, which you'd never imagine to creep in. Like, he's the best passer we got.
Correct.
And he can't seem to play it to a man in white at this moment in time, particularly in the second half anyway. Bentancur was singing his praises in the first half. I thought Bentancur was fantastic in the first half. His tenacity, his aggression, his work rate, the amount of times he was winning the ball back, playing us out. Second half, he was terrible, I thought, Bentancur. So it's just like too many players are just too up and down, up and down, up and down. There's no consistency levels in this team, and that's a big problem.
It's a massive problem. I will say Bentancur did a couple of good things in the second half defensively, but going forward, he had a couple of opportunities with passes and he just rushed them, didn't he? He didn't just put his foot on the ball and evaluate what he's got. So this is a thing as well, though, but you look at it, Bentancur can have these kind of performances and he knows he's starting the next game. Because obviously he's not favouring Paulinho for whatever reason, and there's no quality to say, right, your position is under threat. It's like what we've had with previous managers, where certain players, it doesn't matter how bad they play, you're going to be in the next the team lineup. He tied, like I said, he was at one point contender for man of the match with Ben Davies, who deserves it rightfully so. But it's just, if any team was going to win it at the end, it was to be Sunderland.
Yeah.
And what started off looking like a very, very positive day has just turned out as a meh.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worse than a meh. I'm fuming with that, to be honest, because after that, what we showed in the first half, you've got to keep it going. You've got to keep it going in the second half. You cannot sit off them. You cannot retreat. You've got to keep going until you get that second goal. And we didn't do that. We lacked desire in that second half, massively. The aggressive nature vanished out of our game, and it's just so frustrating to see.
Well, at least what we can say now is next game, Bournemouth, Xavi Simons is back.
Yeah.
So at least there's a bit of quality to come back. Not saying that fixes everything, but at least there is some creativity, because we don't know what's going on with Kudus. We don't know how long that is, or if it's a knock, or if it's going to be a big concern, and then that puts the right wing into what do we do? The window's open and Spurs need to start making some moves. Yeah, desperately, man. But look, I want to give a massive big up to Ben Davies today, because we talk about Ben Davies. Everyone was, scared of him starting the game today and worried, and he came in and probably Spurs' best player today. Gets on the score sheet, first goal scorer of 2026. I can't believe I'm sitting here saying it. 2026, Ben Davies has scored our first goal of the year. But look, here we are. So he was really good today. I think probably he was the one that was consistently good from start to finish. Van de Ven played well. Romero, I don't know what to make out performance today, because there was some good and some bad. Yep. And there was that one moment, wasn't it, where he just that back pass that was
and just like, what are you doing? Just too lackadaisical sometimes, and we've seen that quite a few times this season. So Romero needs to step it up a little bit this season, but Van de Ven does what Van de Ven does. I thought he was pretty good today. But apart from that, is there any player that really stood out to you and being like, you know what, you put in a really good display today from start to finish? I don't think so. No. Ben Davies deserves all the plaudits. And even more so that I think every Spurs fan would have been, or a majority of seeing that line, would have been, oh my God, there's the danger zone. That's where Sunderland are going to get joy. He was great today. He was great for not being, I can't remember the last time he even started the game, let alone featured. And Forest, he came on, didn't he, when we were 2-0 down. A great performance from him. He can take a lot of credit, and he literally put in a very, very solid performance. Very solid. He was, like you said, brilliant going forward, put in a few good crosses, couple of good throws, got on the score sheet, didn't look worried in defence. And in fact, I would have rathered Porro went off for Spence rather than him. Yeah. But he deserves a lot of credit today. He deserves a lot of credit today, Ben Davies. Yeah, look, a lot has got to be questioned in terms of quality in this starting 11, in the forward line. things got to be questioned on tactics as well, going into the second half, only being 1-0 and sit off as much as we did. And things have got to be questioned about in terms of decision making. And because there was this one moment where João Palhinha has it bursting through the middle of the park. He's got Lucas Berger out on the left-hand side who's completely free. And he tries this like Hollywood pass to Richarlison where he has 3 men on him. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're not Iniesta. You know what I mean? Just play it off the Bergvall, start an attack for us and see where it goes. Don't try this ball that you're never going to get through. It's just like so frustrating. And then you've got like Richarlison. He's got Muani at the back post and you're saying cross it, cross it, cross it. He waits forever and then obviously an unsuccessful cross comes when Muani's completely free and had so much time at the back post. And it's like these little things happen time and time again, moment after moment after moment, and the decision making and quality in our decision making in the final third is nowhere near good enough, and that is why we don't create chances.
I mean, you're spot on. I mean, especially the Richarlison one, he could have easily hit it first time, couldn't he? And Muani, who's desperate for a goal, desperate for just something to go in the back of the net. He was so wide open. It weren't even that. If that had got to him, it's 2-0.
Yeah,
as plain as day. But Richarlison took the extra touch, and then when it came to the delivery, got it all wrong. And this is something we do when we get to the final third, isn't it? We just look a bit bereft of ideas. We look scared. We look timid when we go forward. And that's something I never thought I'd say with Spurs, that we look timid going forward.
Yeah.
And that's the quality and on the manager.
Yeah. It's a whole concoction of bullshit, to be honest.
Concoction of bullshit.
Yeah, that's what it is. So it was a massive opportunity for Spurs to climb up the table a little bit today. We looked like we were going to do so at half-time, but the second half happens and Spurs do what Spurs do and let the game pass us by. Look, in these games now, you're looking at it, Brentford, a draw, Sunderland, a draw. These are the games where we need to be putting points on the table with that nasty-looking February coming around the corner. We got Bournemouth away next. You just know they're probably going to get their first win in a bloody long time with Dr. Tottenham rearing its ugly head as always. West Ham away coming next. West Ham at home after that. So we desperately need to start putting serious points on the board.
Without a doubt.
Or we're just going to be a bottom half team table this season, because we've got an opportunity whilst the table is so congested, because as the weeks progress the table is going to become less congested and less congested. You know what I mean? And we need to put ourselves in a good position, and right now we're not doing so. Not doing so. So these bloody Lewis family better get their checkbook out and better get players in now, because we've got rid of Brennan. Like I said before, we've got rid of Brennan. Kudus is out injured now. God knows how long for.
Could you?
No, and we've got no natural right-hand side now. And before we were saying how the left-hand side is so desperate for us. Yep. Now the bloody right-hand side, look, we don't know how serious the Kudus injury is. But if it is any significant injury, then what do we do?
Hope and pray. Hope and pray.
Madness, absolute madness. But yeah, Spurs have let one pass us by. Once again, Tottenham won, Sunderland won. There is a link to submit your player ratings to, which we'll react to tomorrow. The link is in the live chat right now if you want to go and submit your player ratings, and we'll bring up the averages of everyone's tomorrow. But thank you everyone for joining us on the Instant Match Reaction. It is time to get on to the fan show, and it's interesting to see what you guys have to think about that. So who have we got first? Ezekiel. And by the way, Fulham have just got a last-minute equaliser against Liverpool.
A bagger.
Was it a banger?
It was a bagger. They put it on there.
So Liverpool won, scored 94th minute to go 2-1 up, and Fulham equalised the 97th minute. Unbelievable. But anyway, let's bring on Ezekiel. How you doing, Ezekiel, mate?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Frustrated, man. Absolutely frustrated with that second half display, because we were in the driving seat at half time. Absolutely in the driving seat. 1-0 up, looking good. What the hell happened?
I wish I had an answer for you. I'm so frustrated as well. It's like every time we have these high pressure moments and like you need to prove something, the players just always shoot themselves in the foot. We could have came away today with like actual momentum behind us. 3 clean sheets in a row, a win, 2 wins and a draw. This would have been like, not to use the cliche, but this would have been an actual like 6-pointer. Like it would have been a 6-pointer. Just throw it all away. And the most frustrating thing for me about this is that people now are just they don't know whether to blame Frank or blame the players, right?
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't really think it was Frank's fault today. I think it just showed an extreme lack of quality from the team, from the squad, especially in front of goal. Like they just didn't play well, and just also really highlighted the poor mentality of the team. And I don't know if that's really Frank's fault, but there is credence. Like he just sat back the entire second half and didn't do anything. So I don't know. It's frustrating. I don't know what to say. I don't know. I don't know what to think with this team. You know what I mean? I never. There's no like one area where it's just like that's the problem. Let's go fix it. It's everything.
Yeah. Look, I think the problems are there for all to see. We need someone that can dictate a game in the middle of the park. And look, Bentancur was doing a good job of that in the first half, but second half, he was nowhere to be seen. So you need someone that plays at consistent levels. You need more quality in the forward line. I think that is just obvious for everyone to see. Like, let's look at that first half, right? First half, we're on top, we're dominating the game. But we score a goal from a corner, but what else did we actually create in terms of clear-cut chances? Like, when you're on top like that, you've got to be creating consistent chances and putting the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, and I think that speaks to the quality issue, though. We don't have
100%.
any players. Yeah, we just don't have players who can create those opportunities. And what's also really weird is that when we do bring in players who we think should, they don't.
Yeah.
Kudus is a great player. He hasn't been creating extreme high-quality chances all the time. Xavi Simons looks like a donut. He looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. And so, but we know those players are good players. And it's like there's like voodoo at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium that just makes players not perform how they should perform. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And honestly, this whole season, my mind just keeps going back to Conte saying it's easy here. It's easy here. This is the way here. It just keeps going back to that. And just like, how bad is the culture at the club that this is just what happens every year? We've seen multiple different managers, and it's just the same thing, the same feeling, the same collapses. The collapses have always been there no matter what. That's not a Frank thing. The team just collapses, and it's not even on the players. It's been different players.
Yeah.
I don't have a solution for that, and I can't think of one. It's frustrating.
Ezekiel, what was your making of Pedro Porro? Because obviously Ben Davies was fantastic. Pedro Porro is a player I love, but since he's been at this football club, he has just played and played and played and played and played and played. And obviously after a very poor game against Brentford, looked better in the first half. In the second half, he just disappeared again in his passing. Do you think he needs a rest? Do you think he's just switching off? What are you making of Pedro Porro?
I think it's definitely an overworked issue with him. I said that last time I was on. Like, Pedro has really been frustrating me this season. And yeah, I think most of it is just, he just doesn't, ever since he's come to the club, he just hasn't had anyone behind him that we could rely on. And it was supposed to be Jed Spence, and it didn't work out. And now we found out that Jed Spence actually can fill in on the left, and he's been doing that. So I think we might be able to see a better Porro once we get a left back in to cover, and then Spence can come back and be that cover on the right, and we're allowed to rotate and everything. But even with that, like, I do think it's a rest thing. He still has been, there's something off though. It's more than that, because he doesn't look the same player that he used to look, right? His crosses haven't been the same. His play overall hasn't been the same at all. And I don't think that's just, like, I think a lot of it does come down to the fact he's overworked, but I think there is also like a mental part of it. Maybe because he hasn't ever had that cover and he feels all that pressure or something. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there is maybe something a bit deeper there.
Yeah, and we've also seen him get quite frustrated on the pitch, with the fans and stuff and all that. So maybe there is something deeper going on there with Pedro Porro that we don't know about. But in terms of, what did you make of Frank's in-game tactical changes today?
Like, I think he set us up really well. And that we were on the front foot and we were doing the right things to start. And he set us up in the right way. I really like him allowing Tell that opportunity on the left and allowing him to get into the game. I think putting Odegaard in the middle was a good decision, considering our weaknesses there. And I think he did a good job. I wish we could hear what he said at halftime to know if he told them to sit back or not, or if the players just did that for whatever reason. But from what it looks like to us, it looks like he went into the halftime talk and just told them, park the bus, try to win the game, try to win the game that way, which is completely wrong. You just shouldn't do that, and you allow Sunderland back into the game. And you especially shouldn't do that knowing how Tottenham performs in those high-pressure moments normally. So, I'm not a Frank outer. I want him to work really badly, but he comes off as scared all the time. Just all the time. He just comes off as really scared, and he's the complete antithesis of Ange, where Ange had no fears at all, no matter what. Frank seems to be scared of everything all the time and is the most pragmatic manager ever, and just doesn't want I know he has that famous quote from the beginning of the year where it's, you have to, not taking risks is a risk, but the guy doesn't take any risks.
Agreed.
So,
he won't say he won't agree with that if you asked him that. He says he takes risks all the time. He thinks sitting in the press conference is a risk.
Yeah, he's so bad in press conferences too. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he is. He's shocking.
And I remember in the summer, everyone was talking about how he's this really personable guy that everyone's gonna love, and this guy's just he just handles himself terribly in press conferences. Says the wrong thing. He chooses the wrong dialogue option every time.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. But I mean, in my opinion, first half was on the players in terms of being on top. Obviously, the players did well, but there's an aspect that we didn't do well as well, because we got to be creating more, and we got to be putting them under even more pressure than we did when we're so dominant. Second half for me is on Frank and the way we retreated. And I get what you're saying in terms of we don't know what Frank said and we don't know what he told the team. But on the flip side of that, we see this so often. We've seen this so often so far this season, where we either go in a lead or we have a positive moment in the second half. Like the Brentford game was an example of it. We played so well in the first half, got ourselves 2-0 up, and then we just completely sat back. This time we sat back only with a 1-0 lead. And you can't sit back with a 1-0 lead in the Premier League, can you? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I think he's afraid of something like what happened today happening, right?
Yeah.
And he should realize this, because if I can realize it, he should realize it. But you being afraid like that is going to make that thing happen, right? And that's what happened today. Is him being afraid of giving up that lead made us give up the lead. And if we stayed on the front foot, we already proved in the first half that we could pen them in and negate them in their game plan. We should have just kept doing that. But he was scared to do that because, what if they get a counter or break really quickly and they score? Whatever, I'm going to sit back. And that gave the game away. Yeah. So we need to find someone. And I'm not a Frank outer. I don't want to be. I want him to work. Just on principle of I just want a manager to work at Tottenham. But we need to find someone who's in the balance between Ange and Frank. Not ultra attacking and gung-ho and going to do whatever they want and not, change at all. But then we also need someone who's not Frank, who's going to be scared of trying new things and scared to put the game on the line. And so we're talking about spending all this money in the market. I think a piece of our thinking there, maybe we need to spend big on a manager, right?
Who would that manager be, though?
Nagelsmann, Xavi, someone. But a manager who probably wouldn't want to come here, but like what we did with Conte, you give them enough money on the table, they're gonna come. Yeah. And we have money, so that might be something the club needs to do and consider, is just maybe pay over the odds for a manager just to get the right guy in.
Yeah, you say you're not a Frank outer, but Frank was heavily booed at the end of the Brentford game by the Spurs away fans. Chance of boring Tottenham and give us our money back and all that. Today again at full time, Frank is booed by the home fans. Do you feel like it is kind of petering out towards an end with Thomas Frank, or is he going to stay in a job till the end of the season?
Yeah, I think it's the fan base definitely is done with him. Majority of the fan base, I would say, is done with him. But at least my thinking with this, and if I was a manager, like none of that should really matter to you. If your home fans are booing you, if anyone is booing, like it shouldn't matter. Like you should have the confidence in yourself and who you are, that you're doing the right things or you're trying to do the right things and take the right step. But well, I'm not in the boardroom. I don't know what the boardroom's thinking. Maybe they hear that and they get scared, because someone like Levy would, the second that happens, the manager is kind of gone already.
I reckon he would
So,
have been gone months ago if Levy was still here.
yeah. So I guess that kind of indicates that the board's going to give him his time, and so it's probably not done. But I think booze and stuff like that, it really doesn't matter, because we know if Frank suddenly wins 5 games in a row, like starting this upcoming stretch we have, he wins every single game. Let's live in fantasy land. He wins every single game. The fans are going to be back on side. It doesn't matter, right? He wins every single game. We win 3-0. We play great football. The fans are going to be back on side, and he's not going to be getting booed anymore. So who cares, right? That's my thinking on it, at least.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see how things pan out. But again, another frustrating day for Tottenham fans. But Ezekiel, thank you so much for coming on today,
Ezekiel.
mate.
Yep. Have a good rest of the day, guys.
You too, mate.
I have to say, I think if we lose to Villa in the FA Cup,
You think it's done?
the way the fans, I think it could be.
Yeah.
I really do think it could be.
Look, there are two ways. There are two ways it's going to go. It's either going to be that, where after Villa it looks like season's done and we're out the FA Cup. What else do we actually have to aim for and achieve? Then fine. Or are the board thinking of it? We went through this whole 10-peat plan and all this kind of stuff, and we're going to just stick with our guy through thick and thin. You don't know. We don't know how this board are going to act.
If they're going to do it, they're going to have to come out and back him and give him. They need this ball-playing midfielder desperately. We need some quality in the middle of the park, but I've got a feeling the writing could be on the wall if we lose to Villa.
All right, let's go to Wes the King.
Big up, Wes.
How you doing, Wes?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Groundhog Day yet
Deflated.
again.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
I got pretty much a lot to say too. It's one of those, like, we were playing so well in that first half. Like, that's the first time I'll say I saw something. I finally saw a system of play. The way we were making sure we pressed at the whole first half, we were getting the ball right on their side of the field, and we were doing an excellent job going at them and trying to attack. I think he put the players in the right positions at the start of the game. I know Kudus got hurt, so they kind of changed plans, and they kind of, I think, also ruined stuff as well when Kulu had to come in, but I'll get to that later. But I think Tell did great to me. I think Tell did good, actually. He did a good job on that left side. He was really, trying to take on his man. He was doing little dribbles and stuff like that. I know over time, the ball wasn't really getting to him. A lot of time he had to do a whole lot more defensive work, which, that's the part where I'm going to start getting on the coach. But to me, he did good. I know y'all going to do ratings tomorrow, but I gave him a 7 because I like how he played. And also with Davies, he did a good job as the left back, a natural left-footed left back, which I see why they're looking for that so bad, because it's very much needed, because he was able to put in crosses on that side of the field when we weren't getting that with either Adoji or Spence, because both of them are kind of go into the right foot more than even Udoji too, and he's supposed to be a left-footed player, but I never see him really putting in crosses on his left foot. He always go inside or holds the ball too long. So that's the first time I actually saw a left back on that side actually put in crosses, and that made the defense have to take a step back. And we were able to now, with Poro being on the right and then, of course, Davies on the left, we were able to put in crosses from both sides of the field, which helped our offense a lot if you looked at the whole first half. So we were actually really looking very vibrant throughout that whole first half and the way we're playing. I liked how Odebear was playing in the cam at first. He was really pressing very well, getting the ball, dribbling. He made some good passes. I think we should have got more goals from that. And that I put on Richarlison, He had a good amount of chances to do something, and nothing happened. Either you'll be too late, he'll go too early and get offsides, and I think that just comes down to the quality of the striker, And I know when Richarlison has scored the goals, he's been his numbers are looking good, which is good. But I think for when we need to actually lead, he always scores. When he does score, he scores after we either down or the game is over. That's when he always scores. We need a striker that's going to take it and put us in the front foot, not put us back into a game. We need to be the front foot scorers. And he's just not one of those players that sometimes that does that when we need him to. And then he makes boneheaded decisions like that time when he was supposed to get it to Moani. He should have crossed there early, but clearly he doesn't believe in his ability as a player himself. So he had to take another touch, and it ended up being taking too long, and then we didn't get anything out of that in the second half. So that's just one of the things for Charleston that I can't wait till Solanke get back, because I think if Solanke was in those positions in that first half of the day, we would have been up at least 2 goals to me. He would have took one of those chances and we would have done something and been a little bit more stabilized by the second half. But then maybe Frank then could have said, oh, we can play defensively football or whatever, because at least we're up 2 goals. But the fact, this is when I now get on Frank, I think he told them to sit back, because how we went from doing that in the first half and then we just go to like letting them get the ball pretty much most of the half, and they were on our half just attacking us. Like that just didn't happen. It was the same team pretty much out there that did well in the first half, you know. So I think that's more on Frank, and that's Frank doing this pragmaticism that we were praising him about when we first hired him. But you see the faults of that, you know. We want to play attacking football, and we stopped attacking, and we're only up a goal. I hate when we're only up a goal, because that can always lead to us either losing that lead from them scoring a nick on us, and then boom, we're tied up like how we did today, or they can go real ahead of us and score another one, then we lose the game. That's why I hate just being up a goal. We always have to go for one more at least before you just decide to sit the freak back. Like, to be honest with you, our defense ain't that great for us to be doing that. We're not that organized defense. I understand we had a clean sheet, some clean sheets recently, but to me, I don't think we're that defensively sound to really be doing that. We should still be trying to go ahead and at least see throughout the game and at least be up at least 2 goals before we just decide to sit back. But he decided to sit us back the second half, I feel.
It's weak,
and that's
weak mentality, Wes, is it? It's weak mentality. You can't.
Yeah, it's weak mentality.
I completely agree.
Yeah, it's weak mentality. Like, it's ridiculous for Frank. And I think he knows that. You saw his face after the game. He's like, crap. He's like, yeah, dude, you're at home. Like, attack. Like, what are we doing here, bro? Like, and they were playing. You had players playing well. Just get them in better positions. Mwani, he kind of let us down. I gave him a 5 because I'm like, Mwani, he should be able to do well on either side of the wing. I understand. He's more suited for when he's centrally or on the left. I'm like, that's bullcrap. He should have did more on that right side. That was bullcrap. He didn't look like he wanted to get on the field when he was getting prepared to get on the field. Like, if you really look at the footage when he was getting ready, he looked like he didn't even want to go out there. I'm like, bro. Like, this is your own fault. It's your own play that's letting you down. Like, I need you to do better. Like, I understand, and he's played okay. He played decently, but he hasn't done nothing that he's done better at other clubs that he's been out on loan for. So, for Milani, he was not good on the right. Nor was Kudus. To me, it's going to be controversial. A lot of people ain't going to agree with me with this. Kudus hasn't been good. Like, let's be like. Dude's slow on the ball when he gets the ball. He takes on 3 defenders, which I don't see why. He doesn't pass the ball in time enough. He takes too long on the ball. He doesn't make the right pass and make the right decisions. When he does put in the cross, it's either getting blocked or he made it too late, like a Richarlison. And I don't see the dribbling. He does the same little feint thing he does, and then either he loses the ball or he passes it back. It's like the quintessential of a modern winger. It's nobody that's really, to me, eye-popping me right now. And I may be alone in that thinking. People may kill me in the comments. I do not care. Tell me when he scored a whole bunch of goals for us. He scored 1 goal, I think, in the Champions League. I think it was against PSG, I think that's the one he scored. But other than that, bro, I haven't seen do anything that added to more of a positive to the run and play offensively for us. I haven't seen.
He's got 7 goal contributions for us in the Premier League this season. 2 goals in the Premier League.
I think that was early in the season. Yeah, I think that was those first couple games where we were doing very well in the beginning of the season. And that's credit to him. He put some good crosses. Oh yeah, he did good in Leeds. Like, he has some good moments, but it slowed down. It definitely has slowed down for him.
The thing is, Wes, what I would say about Kudus is, I think that, look, he can do better. Don't get me wrong, he can do better. But I think he's the best attacker we've got in the forward line by some way in terms of ability and technical ability. And I feel he does get let down with the tactics and the positional sense of the player so far. Last game against Brentford, I thought he was poor and he had options to play to and he didn't get it to his man. But generally, he doesn't. Generally, our tactic is get it to him and let's hope Kudus can take it past 4 or 5 men and do a worldie for us and basically treat him like he's Lionel Messi. You know what I mean? Like, there's no players around him. What's he supposed to do? Like, sometimes there's no one in 30, 40 yards to him. So who's he even supposed to pass it to?
Wes, let me just add to
that's true as well. I think it's a mix of both. I agree with you on that. Like, it's a mix of both. Plus, I also think we're overusing him, just like Poro. That's why we're seeing the gradients in Poro right now. We saw this last year. We were complaining about Poro and his play a part of the season last year, and we were wondering what the heck was wrong with him. And I think right now it's because he's tired. I do think he's tired because usually he's way more speedy than that. Like that one time we had that break with the ball, he's usually way faster than that. He's way faster than that. So he's definitely tired, and I can't really blame him. To me, I think he's been one of those players that's been the most consistent. I understand recently his passing has not been on par, but I think that's because he's tired. And, I think really Spence is supposed to be behind him, really. Spence is supposed to be on that side behind him. And that tells you why we need a left back so bad, especially a left-footed left back, as in Davies' show. But Davies, he's older now. He's only really supposed to be there for just veteran leadership. So we need to get a younger, more for the future, but able to play now left back like we're looking for. We got it shot down from Santos, from the left back we're going for in Santos. But we need to look for another one. There's other options out there. There's plenty of them. It's just that up to us to actually go and get that player wherever that player is. But I don't think that's the only option just because we shot it down. But I don't think we should pay $18 million for a 19-year-old again anyway. So I'm looking for probably a little bit older than that, a little bit more ready to play Premier League football and ready to be right behind Udogie to play for us. So whatever comes out of that comes out of that. But I think we may send in another offer. Who knows? But I don't think we're going to get that left back. But I think Man United and them are trying to go after him. For other players, when he put in the second half, when he put Paulina in there with Bentancur, I already knew we were about to probably give up a goal. I knew it because I haven't liked them as a partnership. And again, the slowness of how slow Paulina is catching up to offensive attackers while they were on the front foot showed, because soon as we kind of let off the pedal, and Paulina plays a certain type of defensive midway. He's not a quick midfielder where he's going to get up on you, but he's more of that strength midfielder where he's a ball winner type of defensive midfielder, but he doesn't have that quickness really to keep up with these speedy midfielders that were attacking us. And I knew that was going to let us down because Bentancur was already tired, already halfway throughout the game, and from doing all the defensive work he was doing and the good stuff he was doing in the first half. And I knew that was going to let us down, and it did. They were to get a good run. They did a one-touch pass back into the box, and boom, Robbie got a good shot straight at the net. And I knew that was going to happen because Paulina was going to be able to make it there. It's not that he's not good enough to defensively defend in that area. It's just that he was late to get there because he wasn't quick enough. Because they were attacking on the front foot and they had us on the ropes in that sort of possession, and we gave up that opportunity. And that was a good goal by Sunderland. So I knew immediately when that substitution came in, I expected them to score a goal on us. And that's sad to say, but that was going to be true just because of the different. I want to say Paulina one is just that he's not a quick type of defensive midfielder. He's a certain type of defensive midfielder that will work in a certain type of setup around him, but not with Bentancur. Not those two be out there. Bentancur is not as fast as he used to be when we first got him. He used to be a pretty good. He was at least quick when we first got him. That'll slow down because of the injury. So they're just both not those kind of players to both put in the midfield like that. You can get overran pretty quickly with more of a speedy youngster midfield like Sunderland got. So I figured that was going to happen, and that also it didn't help that Frank told them to sit back. We was on the front foot, and then of course Paulina, he's not the greatest passer going forward. Bentancur, he kind of got tired by that point because doing all the defensive work, so his pass was going to be what he needed to be to keep us going offensively. Just stuff started to break down pretty much after that. We started to kind of lose our edge at home of all places, and that seems to happen a lot. And that's kind of just how it all broke down for us. Luckily we still got a point out of it, but we should have won that game. But that's if we stayed on offensive foot. That's if you got to hope Kudus is not hurt. For real. Hopefully it's just a knock. But I like that they precautioned him and took him out the game. At least he got up and everything, so it shouldn't be anything that's going to be crazy long term if it is anything. But now that's another worry we got to worry about is do we have another right winger? But that's because we got rid of Johnson so quickly without having a
Solanke
replacement.
weren't supposed to be long term either.
Yeah, like that's the club really before we should have been a little bit more stagnant on giving up Johnson so quickly early in the in the window. We should have told Crystal Palace like, hey, until we have like something to replace him immediately, we're not giving him up just yet. But we do agree on the terms. You will get this player, but we're not going to give him up just yet till we have our own replacement. And that's what big clubs do. A lot of clubs don't just give up their players and don't have nobody, and we say we're going to figure it out. But we're just like, oh, I guess we're just going to figure it out, and we don't have no replacements for it. And now we're seeing a light bench with a lot of youth talent and stuff like that. And it's going to hurt us later on when we need more done. It's already hurting us now to me. I think it hurt us in this game, not having a Johnson or something like that, because I think Johnson would have filled in that position and maybe put Cooley Mwani maybe at striker, and maybe he would have did something more with the chances Richarlison was getting. But that's hearsay now. But it's another disappointing for Frank, and he's going to have questions to answer, and he's not going to answer them right because he doesn't do good in press conferences. And he's going to probably say the wrong thing, and he's going to act like the fans are not supporting the club or some stupid shit, that he always want to say about us. But, at this point, it's his tactics. Like, things I like how we play because we go into defensively, we go into a 4-4-2. I like that because that puts us a little bit more sound defensively in certain moments so we can press and everything. And then it changes back into Odegaard going to the cam, more behind the striker. I like how I see the system now. And I saw the type of good football we could play as a potential. It's just that his decision making on when to fall back and not play offensively is the problem.
Wes, I just want to ask you a quick question about something you were saying about when it comes to transfer window and left back. You said something that I've now switched on, and I said to you yesterday. You were mentioning about the Brazilian left back, and we need in cover and an understudy for Destiny. I love Destiny, but I think we've got it muddled up here now. I don't think we need to look for an understudy for him. I think we need to look for someone to be above him because we can't rely on him injury-wise.
Yeah.
And try to get him to stay fit, more consistent, and challenge that guy. If we get an understudy for Destiny, we're doing ourselves a disservice because we can't rely on him. I mean, what do you think of that?
I can actually agree with that. I think that's a good point as well. I've had my little problems with Udogie. He seems to be very injury prone. He does not stay out there playing for us he doesn't play 3 or 4 straight matches. Something always happens, either to his calf, a muscle, and then next he's out for 5 or 6 weeks. It's ridiculous. And for him to be so young is kind of disheartening. It's sad for him that's what's happening to him. And I know you can't really control all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, being on the field is your best thing as a player, is being on that field, being on that pitch, and playing consistently. I'm sure Porro, we're happy with him because he's always able to play. He barely gets injured, knock on wood. But yeah, I think I agree with you. And I don't know how good that left back is. Santos, they were kind of they had a very trying season, barely surviving relegation. They had to do that to the last game. With Neymar kind of saving the way those last couple games into the season. So I don't know how good that left back is to be playing immediately in the Premier League. That's why I'm saying I think we should look for somebody who's more able to go in and and challenge Destiny immediately, and not a 19-year-old left back from Brazil. And hopefully that maybe he is good because there's other big Premier League teams looking for him. But again, those teams are kind of in a different position than us. We need more players that's going to be able to go into that starting 11, and I don't know if that 19-year-old is going to be able to do that immediately. We got enough 19, 20-year-olds on this club right now. We're good with that. I understand, especially January transfer window. We can worry about youth development in the future in the summer. To me, I'm sick of us going after those kind of younger players right now. That's not needed for a January transfer window. We need a little bit more players that are more veteran. Not veteran since they have to be 30 years old. I mean, like veteran, they're like 20, like 23 to like 26 is what I'm looking for. I think that would be somebody that can actually go in there strong, can attack, can do a cross with the left foot, please. We need a left back that can cross the ball with the left foot because I think it will unlock us so much. And you saw that in the first half with Davies. And Davies is older. He's not going to be here forever. So we can't rely on him to be the backup. But we need a player like him, though, but just younger. But maybe can do even more than what Davies did. But Davies, he's the one who scored the goal. So shout out to him. But yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, we may need somebody who's more going to be the starting left back and actually challenging Destiny because Destiny has the injury prone.
Yep.
Wes, always a pleasure, my friend.
Speak to you later, buddy.
Yeah, see you guys. Come on, you
See you later, mate. Come on, you Spurs.
Right, let me just go to the bathroom again.
Big up to Wes the King. Next up, we are going to go to George. George, long time no see, buddy. How you?
Yeah, it has been, hasn't it?
Yeah. Things haven't got any better.
No, exactly. I'm still depressed because of the way that the Spurs are playing.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever felt this disconnected with a club.
I know how you feel, mate.
It's weird. Like, obviously, the last 5 years of being self-employed, having all the time to just sit around and watch Spurs and keep up to date with everything, that's probably a massive factor that that's not the case anymore. But it's almost like I don't want to. It's a weird like way of thinking. But I feel like this isn't Tottenham that I fell in love with. I fell in love with swashbuckling attacks. Yeah, may not have been the top 4 every season. We may not have been the top 5 in the country as far as football teams go, but at least we were entertaining. Whereas now, I don't know what's happened. I can't think of anything to put it down to other than the manager. I don't know. I don't know where we go from it.
When we saw the first half, I'm sure we were all pleased with what we were seeing in terms of effort, work rate, desire, pressing higher from the front, having those key fundamentals which you always want to see in your team, which we haven't had for the majority of the season. Is it fair to say that in the first half alone, Frank actually got it spot on, but it was actually the players and the quality in the forward line that actually let us down?
I think a lot of it's down to the players. I'm always, as you know, always trying to call the players out as opposed to the manager. The players are the ones on the pitch and should be putting in the hard work and the hard graft. But there is a certain line where it's clearly something more than that, and that's how it feels to me. And I mean, we're the biggest cock tease of a club that I've ever seen in any sport. Like, how can we have a first half performance like that and then come out the way we did? I'm very worried, not even just based on how we play as well. I'm worried on injuries. We've got arguably 4 of our best attackers. I know one of those includes a doggy, but he is amazing when it comes to attacking. They're out injured. Archie Gray, who personally, and I know neither of you will agree with this, but I think he's pretty mid at the minute. I think he's got a very high ceiling and he'll be better with more experience. But the way he's been thrown in, and then seeing him limping, when you noticed it, he'd been limping for about 5 minutes before you picked up on it, Ben. So
right.
I'm worried that he's now going to be out.
He came out for the second half. You would have thought if there was actually an injury, they would have taken him off at half time.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it was just a dead leg. He was like skipping, as if he was trying to wake up a dead leg. So I'm hoping it was just a dead leg from a knee into the thigh or something. But it's worrying. I've never really, since I can remember, again, I started supporting the club in 2010 when I really got into football. I've never felt more disconnected or unenthusiastic about football and about Spurs.
I think a lot of people feel the same way. I'm probably.
This is what I'm saying. We're European champions, Europa League champions. It's the first trophy I've ever seen Spurs win in my lifetime. It should be the complete opposite. We should be so ecstatic and so on the up, but we're not. We're, if anything, on the down. We've got rid of the one thing that we thought was the problem in Daniel Levy, and I know we're 4 days into the transfer window. So this might be a bit jumping the gun, but I was hoping and expecting to see something by now, some solid connections, not just rumours. So there must be something bigger in the club than just that. I mean, yeah, it's
look, in
confusing.
terms of the Daniel Levy thing, we are still the Daniel Levy club, you know what I mean? There's not been enough time for others to implement their ideas and for us to see it in front of our eyes. And I think it'll take a long time as well for us to get out of that because, you know, he ran the club for 25 years. So everything that you're seeing is all a culmination of what he did and how he built the club, you know what I mean? So the good and the bad. But look, it is, like you said, 4 days into a transfer window. We've seen already different ways that we're going to act in selling Brennan Johnson in the manner that we did. So we're just going to have to hope and pray that we do bring someone in, because with Kudus out injured now, Johnson left the club. We got no right winger. We got no right winger at all. So does that shift maybe the transfer in that we want to do? Do we focus more on the right than the left-hand side now? What is the plan?
Beats me. I think Brian summed it up really well just now before he went, in the fact that we need to be looking not at understudies, we need to be looking at people who challenge for the starting lineup. I mean, you can see at the minute, our struggles is strength in depth. We have players who are good enough to come on and play in the Premier League, but not to really challenge in the way we want to challenge. And the doggy's injury is sort of the epitome of that. We've brought in Jed Spence, who everyone thinks he's really good, but he's really good for a mid-table team. I know that's kind of what we are at the minute, but if we have aspirations to be more than that, we need players and a manager who have aspirations to be higher. I know they'll always come out and say it, because if they don't, they're not doing their job. But I don't get the sense that there's any weight to that belief. I don't believe them when they say it.
Well, you know, we've got to look at as well. I'm probably going to say something here to be very highly controversial. We're talking about cutting edge.
It won't be like you, Brian.
It wouldn't be like me.
I was going to say, never. Brian saying
Why
something controversial. Stop the headlines.
No, when are we going to start looking at this? Right, we brought in Kolo Muani to score goals and to add something. He just isn't in the Premier League. And we look at people we've brought in on loan up top before, like a Dan Juma, like a Timo Werner.
Yeah.
And obviously the little impact they had here. Kolo Muani, like we were talking, scored goals at Juventus, was scoring goals at Paris Saint-Germain, was doing it for France. He's come here, and yes, he's come from Paris, and it's like, okay, he's a good player, he scores goals. Well, he isn't, is he? So we brought in this striker to replace Solanke after Solanke's injury, not knowing it would be this long. What's he bringing to the team? Seriously.
I'll come in off the back of that before.
Of course you
can,
George.
Obviously, you guys know I do my player ratings every game, and I've got it so it's an average of each month of the season as well. Van der Ven has got all 4: August, September, October, November. December, Kolo Muani is actually the highest rated on average of players who have played more than 2 games.
Really?
For me, yeah. Granted, it's 6.83, which is not good enough, but I was shocked when I saw that. I just thought that's something to mention off the back of what you said. And personally, I wouldn't give it to him, but that's just what my averages have said over December.
But you see, that rating right there is not a testament to how good Muani has been. It's a testament to how poor Spurs have been in general. That's what it's a testament to. Yeah. And I think Muani, as much as he hasn't scored in the Premier League, I think his performance has regressed over the last 2-3 weeks, or however long you want to say. He started off, I liked what he was bringing to Spurs. I liked the work rate, I liked the effort, the desire. All that was missing was the finishing touch, and now I think everything's kind of regressing. And also, we're not doing him favours, sticking him out on the left, sticking him out on the right. He's a striker, for God's sake. And I think, in my opinion, he's a better striker than Richarlison. But Richarlison's scoring the goals, and he's playing all right at the minute. And apart from today, I thought he was,
apart from
didn't do much today.
He did defensively.
Defensively, he did well today, Richarlison. But
I couldn't agree more with what you said.
Yeah.
But sorry, the connection's a bit dodgy.
You
keep cutting out, but it's my internet. It's not you guys. Actually, it's my laptop just being awfully slow. What was I going to say? Yeah, so something I saw when we signed him was in the live chat of one of your guys' streams. A load of PSG fans came in and said, "Do not play him on the wing. He's not a winger. He's an attacker." And I think that's where we need to be playing him, is up front. I think I agree with you. I think he's better than Richarlison. Richarlison scoring the goals, but that's because he's in the middle. He's there to just tap in these rebounds and just to knock it in when the ball's squared to him. Put Colin Mawani there, I reckon we do have a higher output. But then that brings up the problem of who do we put on the wing, especially now. It's again, I'm just completely lost at it. A really good example of why I personally don't believe Thomas Frank is the man is you look at Van der Ven. He's the epitome of everything that this club is about at the minute, and and this is very harsh to say, statistically by my ratings, he has regressed throughout the season. First 2 months, 7.75 on average, then 7.4, 6.66, and then 6.6. Every single month, worse by worse. And that's the same basically across the board, including Thomas Frank, apart from December. But I don't see how we can have a manager who averages 4.5 for the month of November. I mean, he got 3, 2, 1, 2, 9, and 7. Like,
That's just that's all comes down to, in my opinion, lack of belief in what we're trying to do right now. You're seeing players lost on the football pitch. At the beginning, it was all new, and everyone was, fighting their socks off for the cause and for new tactics and whatever it may be. And I think, like, month by month, you can see, I think players are just losing interest in what Spurs are trying to do right now. And that's the hardest thing about it. And when you're looking at players like Mickey van der Ven, who's obviously one of our highest rated players in the squad, with his contract only got 3 years left or something, so you're thinking, why would he sign a new contract when it's just a shit show after shit show after shit show? Like, what can we do to even keep a player like Mickey van der Ven at the club?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I mean when I say I've not lost interest, but I can feel myself losing it because, like, stuff like that you have no answer to, and it's like, well, until we actually see someone who's in a position and paid to find an answer to it, how are we supposed to feel as fans?
Yeah,
Like, this is why there's such a disillusioned feeling amongst the fan base across the board. We've always had a toxic fan base where some people, I mean, obviously I was very against selling Ange, but why people are still bringing him up? The past is the past. Why are we looking at Poch? The past is the past. We need to be looking forwards. Looking forwards is sticking with a manager, and I really want to stick with a manager, but I don't see how Thomas Frank can be that person with the style of football we've been seeing to date. It's not
on
Spurs.
On that point, George, on the manager situation, obviously the fans are losing / lost patience in terms of Thomas Frank. Massive boos in the away end, and the fans actually made a point out of waiting to Thomas Frank to get in front and giving them the loud boos and all the chants that were coming out, I'm sure you saw. And then today again, at the end of the game, massive boos directed all at Thomas Frank. We don't know how this board react, because Daniel Levy, in my opinion, would have got rid of him a couple of months ago, at the minimum. So how do you think this is all going to play out? Is Frank going to last the season? Is it a case of what Brian said, FA Cup will bust, and then if we go out the FA Cup to Aston Villa, he'll lose his job? Or are they going to stick by their 10-point process plan of how they hired Frank and keep him till the end of the season at the minimum?
Yes, is as good as mine. I, at half-time, thought if we lose this, Frank's gone before the end of the day. Now, sort of having let the waters calm a little bit and seeing that it's a very important game midweek, I don't see him getting sacked until Villa. But if we lose that, we're guaranteed another trophyless season. And I know that's like not.
You're writing us off the Champions League, George, then, yeah?
You never know, George. Once we're mathematically safe from relegation, we can bin off the league and go for the Champions League.
Only if we play attacking football and have a manager who's going to do that. But yeah, let's not go there. I agree with Brian. I don't think we'll see the end of next week if we lose to Villa. Even if we win, it's not convincing, and then we lose at the weekend, I think he's in trouble.
Yeah.
But again, how do we know what to expect with this board? Like, that's probably the only excitement. And what a phrase! Like, if any Arsenal fans are watching this, they're going to love this, because what a phrase to say. The only excitement is in our club is finding out if our manager's going to last the week. Like,
Well, you just have to hope.
we're
Like you said, George, we don't know anything with this board right now. We don't. And if they were to go down that avenue, and if they were to sack Frank and say enough's enough, then you would hope there is a contingency plan ready to go immediately, not just like we did when we got rid of Poch and brought in Jose, like we did with what's his name, the guy that won Ramos, and we had Redknapp. You would hope Spurs were ready to go if they do pull the trigger.
Nuno and Conte as well.
Oh yeah, Nuno and Conte. So they've done that in the past, not always, but you'd have to hope if they went down that road, especially with the window open, that they'd be ready to go. So it's when do they?
Well, that's the thing. They need to make up
trigger?
their mind now.
Yeah,
Because of the window being open. Otherwise, it's too late. Like, don't just do a typical Tottenham thing of wait until January the 25th, get in a new manager after another 5 days, and have 1 day left of the window. I can see that happening, sadly. But on what you said, I don't see there's no smoke without fire, and I can't remember the reputable source I saw it from, but it was definitely up there. May have been Ali Gold, but can't remember who it was. On Twitter earlier today, someone said Xavi has said he's open and willing for the Spurs job. And the amount I'm hearing, again, having not watched any of your videos because of just not having time and the limited time I do have, the way we're playing, my heart's not in it.
Mm-hmm.
Even being that disconnected at the minute, I'm still seeing all these rumours. That really, to me, tells me something. And that was one of the reasons I thought if he loses today or doesn't win today, then the writing's on the wall. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But
so if they have
I don't really
if they already have those question marks over Frank, then what the hell is this transfer window going to entail? Like, what kind of players do we bring in? I assume it'll just be club signings, and it won't be players for Frank.
Yeah, but everyone can see what we need. Regardless of what the manager coming in is going to be, everyone can see what we need and the players that we should be going for. So even club signings, you like to think that they would be in those positions that we need, i.e. striker, left winger, left back, etc., midfielders, basically the whole fucking team. But I've said my bit on the manager, but I think a lot of our players are not good enough as well.
Agreed.
Again, Jed Spence. It's a really good example. The amount that I've said about Jed Spence when I've been on the fan shows, it's quite obvious I'm not his biggest fan. I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's good enough to be in our starting 11 if we want to be in top 4. Same with even players like Bentancur. He's basically a nailed-on starter, and I don't think he's good enough. Whether that's the type of play we put, the style of play we have, I don't know, but yeah, it's
happy days,
good
George.
times.
all part and
Ding,
parcel.
ding,
Yeah, it's
ding.
fun and games being a Spurs fan, isn't it?
Yeah, it is
Just
indeed.
another day in paradise.
George, always a pleasure to speak to you in good times and in bad, and we'll speak to you soon.
George.
Catch you both very soon.
See you
As
later.
always,
Come on, you Spurs. Come on.
See you later, brother.
All right, let's keep moving on. We've got a lot of guests. Farhan up next. Farhan, how's it going, mate?
Big up.
I don't even know where to start. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, going through the motions as we do at the end of every game. It seems like Groundhog Day, every match day for Tottenham Hotspur at this moment in time. But sum up your feelings after the game.
I think the best word I could use is apathetic, to be honest. I don't want to sound like the pessimist in the room, but I think we all knew.
Trust me, you're not the only one, Farhan. Don't worry.
I think we all knew going to that second half. Within 2 minutes, I knew we were not winning this game. Because I'd say for the first half, like you guys said, we were on the front foot. We were pressing them high. We did really well. We should have been 2-3-0 up. Let's be real. Within the first, I'd say 5 minutes, I think Sunderland beat the first chance. It wasn't even anything crazy. It's just like a cross or something. And I saw our team drop deeper and deeper as the half progressed. And it became very clear to me that Frank set up that, all right, we're going for a 1-0. basically. I think by 55th minute, he accepted, you know what? We don't need to press high anymore. 1-0. And listen, I totally understand that. I think what we played Brentford 2 days ago, 3 days ago. These players are tired, and obviously with the injury situation right now, we don't really have much to rotate. But I want to ask you guys a question, right? And maybe, listen, Brian, you are probably the most optimistic about Frank right now out of the three of us.
By a
I'd
mile,
say.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you, and this is just a general question: what is Frank's style of play? I want you to just tell me
Mate,
that.
do you know what?
What is his style?
I've been asking myself that since the Brentford game. All I know is obviously when he was at Brentford, and we're going back to Brentford, he had a lot of time there to get what he had. He liked to get the ball and counter-attack quickly and be very, very quick on the ball. Basically, what I think he wants to do as his staple style of football is what you saw in the first half and Brentford at home, where we won 3-0 and were fantastic. But I don't think he has the belief in himself at the moment, being at Tottenham, and the belief in the squad to be able to do that week in, week out. What we saw in the first half and Brentford is what I believe is what he wants as our style of play. But he can't do it, or he doesn't have the faith in them to do it week in, week out for some reason.
Including the Champions League, we're 26 games into the season, 27,
Yep.
I guess, if you include the Carabao Cup, right? If we can only sit here and say in 2.5 games, let's say Man City,
Yep.
Brentford at home, and half today. Out of 27 games, you're saying that this style of play for this manager, he's implemented that in 2.5 games. And whatever the reason might be, whether it's, injuries or he doesn't believe in himself, which if that is the case, I think that's just silly because
Concerning.
you can't come in to manage a football team and be like, oh, I've gone to this point playing this way, thinking about this, and this is my philosophy. I'm not sure it's gonna work here, right? Isn't remember? And I think I hiken it back to Ten Hag, right? For Ajax, he played this swashbuckling, possession-based, front-footed football, and he came to Man United and completely changed it up. And yes, I think first season he got results. They won a cup. They finished third, and I think his argument was, I don't have the players, and it might take time, which you could argue is the case for Frank. The only thing I'll say, I'm not asking for us to be third in the league, second in the league. We're 13th, and it's not we're 13th by playing well and losing, by the odd goal or whatnot, right? We're 13th, and we're probably maybe higher than where we should be, to be honest. And that is ridiculous. When we're sitting here, this was a 20th Premier League game. I just clocked something whilst the last guy was on, right? I was looking at the table. And again, I don't want to compare the two regimes because, people are going to come at me. It's fine. 20th game, we've equaled our points tally from the first 10 games of Ange. And for anyone who's going to try and tell me that our squad is worse now compared to what it was for those first 10 games, because I think a lot of people's argument is when Frank gets the right players, it's going to change.
Yep.
We're going to get better and do this and that. But what is the evidence for that? Because, again, in my opinion, he has a better squad now compared to what we had back then. And for me, to be in this position, and here's the thing, right? The Premier League is in this weird place where every week, and I watch you guys all the time, right? I watch every single match, preview and everything. Mm-hmm. Every single game, we look at the table and we say, we win this game, only 2-3 points behind Chelsea and Man United. We can usurp them. We can match their tally. We keep saying that every game. We don't win, and somehow we're still in the same spot. Now, I think that says a lot about the Premier League in general. But for me, I just think with Spurs right now, we endured Mourinho and Conte. It was never this bad. Even the style of play, I don't think it was ever this bad. Because we're in a position where we can't string two passes together. And I know, Brian, you talked about us playing on the counter, right? But and to be honest, I thought that's what we were gonna be, and I don't have an issue with that. Like fine, I can accept that we're not always going to outpossess them, and we're not always gonna play some ridiculous football. I mean, look at the Premier League right now. Who really is playing amazing football?
Exactly.
Like that, I can understand that. The issue I have is that we're not even countering. Like it's like we get the ball, and I know Paro gets a lot of stick, right? To be honest, I think Paro is someone who's a victim of his like own fitness. And I know that sounds crazy, but out of the last 3 years, he's the only player who's been fit all the time, and people like blast him for it. And it's kind of he's not been perfect by any means, but at the same time, like it's for him, right? Like Udogi goes down every other week, and I love Udogi, right? But like this guy is so injury prone, unfortunately. And the player who's meant to be Poro's backup has to play backup to the left back because we don't. And I don't remember the last time we signed a fullback, and that's crazy to me. We've been saying that this is a problem for 3 seasons, and we don't have another fullback. And
It's probably Pedro Porro.
Pedro
again,
Porro, yeah.
Yeah, but that was the last one. 3 years ago or whatever, like 2 years ago. In James winter.
It was
3 years ago.
it was in the January just before Conte got sacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, winter 23. So January 23. It's been 3 years since we signed a fullback, and like that's just ridiculous to me. And anyways, my point was like, I think what we were doing at the start of the season quite well was Parra was looping those balls from right back down the wing, and it was Kudus getting onto them. And even at Brentford, like the first goal we scored, like at home, it was Porro's ball on the right side. Xavi gets on the end of it and then crosses it to Richarlison, right? He does that. It's just a lot of the times now, and when we are saying his passing is poor and everything, he doesn't have anyone to pass to. I've never seen a Spurs team so like far apart from each other. No one's like we don't. I was watching a documentary on Total Football recently. We play the opposite of Total Football, where nobody ever replaces anyone in their position. They just stay stagnant in one place. And I'm sorry, but that is on Frank.
Great.
Because as bad as we were under Ange, right? And we finished 17th, so the bar is set low. My point is, I don't think we were this bad in possession even back then. And again, you can say we're better defensively or whatnot. True, we've kept more clean sheets already than we did the entirety of last season. But I would argue that's down to a few factors, including the fact that, Van de Ven and Romero. Oh my God, guys, could you imagine where we would be this season without Van de Ven? Like, I was just thinking about that, 2 days ago. I genuinely think we'd be in the relegation battle.
Be very close to it. Very close to it.
Because Romero, again, I love Romero, but I do think he's had a weird season. Lots of ups, lots of low points as well. But Van de Ven has been so consistent, and poor him, man. It's what you guys are saying with the last caller. It's like, I'm so scared that in the summer he just goes, no, I want out. And that's kind of a reason why. Listen, we were shocking last season, but I was never Ange out, purely because I was like, replacing a manager midway through the season, not gonna go well, and the Europa League was like a achievable task. So just keep the core group of players. Let's see what happens. For the first time supporting Spurs, and I've been supporting for over 10 years, I am a manager out. Not because, I don't envision that someone's going to come in and save us. But I think it's just creating this toxic environment where, I feel bad for the people who's going to the home games, paying, I think there was a stat last season where people had to pay, £700 or whatever for every home win. That's ridiculous. I can't even fathom for you guys to be going to those games and facing that draw. And a lot of that was down to Ange, but this season, I look at our home games, right? It's not like our home games that we've dropped points on for Frank have been particularly that difficult. drawing to Wolves, which felt like a loss, embarrassing in my opinion. I think today as well. I know people will say Sunderland gave City a game. They were tired from the City game, and also if you look at the form table, Sunderland's away form is not great at all. And I know our home form isn't good, but at the same time, we're trying to rectify that. And I just think points we've dropped, it's gonna bite us later. We've been saying this is the winnable run. This is the run where we put together a couple of wins because February is gonna be tough. Yeah, I for one don't think we're gonna go to Bournemouth and win. It's not gonna happen. We can't. I don't even know what to say. And one more point I want to add. This is completely different from the Frank. This is a separate tangent I was thinking about while watching the second half because there wasn't much to get excited about, but I got pretty agitated about this. Right. I generally have come to the conclusion that I feel like players get refereed differently in the Premier League because some of the crap Sunderland were doing, and I was like, I think Mundell at one point before Odegaard goes off, like elbows him in the face just blatantly. Even the commentators were very biased against this. Were like, that is terrible. What is he doing? And then what Robbie does to Porro as well.
Yeah.
Like if Romero does that, he's getting sent off and banned for another 5 games, right? And it's really frustrating because it's hard to kind of like I don't understand where the bar is set for what's like allowed as a foul and what isn't, what's allowed for a card and what isn't. Like it's so inconsistent now, and yeah, it was just something that, especially considering what was our last game, Liverpool at home, like
Home
the
game,
contrast between the two. Yeah, and it's just like you see how that game was refereed, and then you see this one, and it's like I don't really know what to think. But yeah.
Farhan, always a pleasure, mate. Thank you for coming on today.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
And you.
And to you, mate. Oh boy! Oh
Man City
boy!
1-0 up.
Man City are 1-0 up.
Who
Tijani
scored?
Reinders scored the
There you
goal.
go.
So Spurs have won 2 from their last 11 Premier League games.
Yeah, it's not acceptable. It's not.
Sackable form right
That
there.
is. I'll even admit it. That is sackable form.
And it's
that
not,
really is.
I mean, just looking on the pitch, that's all you need to see. But anyway, let's go to Mr. Stelios in his car. On your way back from the game, Stel?
Yeah, I'm in the car with Iggy and JP. Hello,
big
boys.
yes,
How you
Iggy,
doing?
yes,
Happy
JP.
New Year.
Big up, boys.
Happy
up,
New
guys.
Year.
Tottenham away reunion, love it.
Spurs corner. Spurs corner reunion as well. Let's say.
Well,
That's
Spurs
right.
corner wouldn't be a reunion because they're going right now.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Fair play.
Royalty in the house. Royalty in the house.
Royalty
Mate,
in the
I just-
car still, in the car.
In the car, correct. In the vehicle, yeah. I just want to say a big thank you to Thomas Frank because Jed Spence, Van der Ven, Adogi, these players storm off the pitch angry, and Frank tells them off for not going and saying thank you to the fans. I just want to say thank you to Thomas Frank for storming off today and not coming and saying thank you to us.
Did
He
he?
was sitting in the terraces, freezing cold, after he told us before the game, get behind the team. And at the end of the game, he walks off. So I just want to say, cheers, Frank. Cheers for that, mate. Nice.
Still, I
Like
have
it.
to say, I think that's very damning, mate. I think this is a lot closer to being over than I think. Not to go over to the fans and do that's. I think we are witnessing the end. That's managers
I
have
don't
done
know-
that before. I think this is a lot closer to being near the end than we think. I really do.
Listen, Brian, for me, I'll let Iggy and JP have their say as well if we can somehow get one on the camera. But for me, I can't watch this anymore. I know we need new players. I get it. Everyone knows. I don't think there's a Spurs fan who's honest that won't say that we need new players. We need them desperately, especially now if Mohamed Kudus is going to be injured for some time because he went off injured again.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know what's going to happen with that. But he just this 4-3-3. He's just reluctant to ever change it, and he's meant to be a manager that adapts and changes. And You could see it needed changing. That second half, Sunderland were getting on top of us. Does he go to a back three? No. Does he push the fullbacks up? No. Does he play Ben Davies, who got run ragged on the left wing? Yes. Does he bring on Paulinho late on instead of early on? Yeah. Does he switch the wingers either side to try and do something different? No. And you sit there and you think, he's lost. I think the manager's completely lost. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, I'd actually disagree with that because I think he did change things because I think things were going pretty well in the first half and he regressed and sat us back in the second half and completely gave the onus on Sunderland and, you know, we kept regressing.
Ben, that's what I mean.
The changes were negative.
Yeah.
The second half, Sunderland got on top of us. He didn't change it to counter it. Do you know what I feel like it is with Frank? He's got an idea and he goes with that idea. And if at any point in the game, whether it's the first 15 minutes, towards the end of the first half, the second half, at some point, if the other team gets a foot in the game and they're on the ascendancy, he doesn't know what to do.
He shits the bed every time.
And that's what I mean about he doesn't change it. Like Iggy was saying to me, he's going to bring on players in the 70th minute. This was about 50 minutes in. And I said, I don't know, I think he'll do it earlier. Literally 70th minute, he does it. You know, you can read what he's going to do. It's not all on Frank, guys. It's not, because these players, a lot of them aren't good enough. But I really believe the way Frank sets us up is a problem now. It is definitely a problem from an attacking sense. When the other team begin to get a foot in the game, it is problematic. And I don't like what I'm watching. And you know, it's not just me. At the end of the game, it was all booze again. It was booze.
Yeah, look, it's happening home, it's happening away, and look, once you lose that loyal away support, there's only one way it's going to go, isn't it? And can you see there being any sort of possibility of him turning this around?
In my opinion, no, because listen, Sunderland were missing their six. So this was a weakened Sunderland team, and we got dominated in that second half. The way they were passing the.
Oh, I think we lost him.
Oh dear.
I think we lost him.
Time to park up, man.
We just see him ranting in the car. We can't hear him.
Still, we've lost you completely.
1 minute. 1 minute. Just trying to avoid a car crash.
Yeah, avoid that, please.
Can you hear me now, guys?
Well, not really.
No, now you got all dark. What the? I think you're in a dodgy area still. Wherever you've pulled up.
Is that better, guys?
A little bit.
Listen, guys, if it's no good, just cut me. Don't worry about it. If it's no good, just cut me.
Look, just say what you need to say, and then we'll move on. And instead of asking questions back and forth, it might work better that way.
Yeah, it's just to say I don't think Frank tactically is setting us up to the best of what we can be. We definitely need new signings. ENIC need to pull their finger out. It's 4 days into the window. We need players ASAP. We've got games coming thick and fast. And like your last caller said, I've got no confidence in us going away to Bournemouth and winning. And I don't think he'll turn it around, Ben. No. My answer's no. Not unless we chuck £400 million at it.
Iggy, you feeling the same?
Mate, it's tough. It's a tough watch. I hadn't been down the lane for a while, mate. I hadn't been for quite a while, and I found it really tough watching that. But for me, I mean, the first half it wasn't too bad. The second half, they got the better of us, and we, like you rightly said, the changes that he made regressed us rather than adding to us. But for me, that second half, look, the goalkeeper, we didn't lay a glove on their goalkeeper the whole game. Really. Apart from that Ben Davies goal, I didn't see their goalkeeper being bothered at all. But for me, that second half was defined by two moments. The first moment was that ball over the top of Richarlison on the right-hand side, where he could have put it first time I had a clear view. First time he puts that ball across the face of the goal, Mwani's got, literally he can pick his spot because he meets the ball instead of delaying it, and then that was smothered. That was a big moment because we got 2-0 up. The game for me is done because Sunderland are not coming back from that. The second moment has to be that Bergvall throw. I'm like, mate, as soon as that happened, mate, as soon as that happened, I looked at Stell and I said, I want to go. I just want to go now. because not even in the under 10s, under 9s, under 11s, you see stuff like that. And I'm thinking, I've come to watch Premier League football, and in the end, like Stell says, man, like you've Spence and Van der Ven took so much crap on the back of walking off after the Chelsea game. For him not to come over and thank the fans, and we lack. There's hypocrisy and we lack accountability, and until those things get addressed, above all else, you'll never, ever get out of the situation you're in, because we are. Everyone's taking their own little direction, and it can't work in the football team. Everyone's doing their own thing. In complete contrast in what I saw Sunderland in the second half, I saw a unity amongst the players. The coaches on the side have made the changes. The fans always believed, and the away fans always believed that and once they made it 1-1, the following 10 minutes there was only going to be one winner if the next goal came, and they believed they were going to win that game. And they had a couple of situations where they could have done a little bit better from it. So, in answer to your question in regards to whether I see Frank, mate, I'm not even seeing patterns of play. Like I don't see an identity in the way that we want to play, the patterns of play in the 5 months he's been here. And that, sadly, and we have to say, we all believe that Frank could do a job, and in 5 months it's proven that it isn't so. And there's nothing wrong with that if you believe that he was going to do a job before. And it hasn't turned out. We can't deny what's in front of you and what we're seeing. And sadly, in that 5 months, I've not seen enough for him to keep his job. If Maresca can go on the back of what he did, there's no way Frank can stay on the basis of what we are seeing. The results are not forthcoming, man. And 4 wins. Is it 4 wins? He said 4 wins in the whole year. I mean,
well, it's now 2026, so
we've won 2 in our last 11 Premier League games. I mean, that says everything you need to know, really.
Mate, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium's got to be a fortress, and you know what? If today, and this is the first time, I'll say this last thing. Sitting around the stadium today was the first time I felt I was in contact with the fans, and I was looking around and I was like, mate, it is bad as it's ever been. I don't remember a time where it was this bad, like in terms of vibe, atmosphere. I just you can't turn it around if the fans don't believe in what you're doing. It's as simple as that.
Do you think he should go now, like before it?
The problem with Ben, I argue with myself around this all the time. I do think it'd be a good time for him to go, but I don't know who we would replace him with. Ben,
it has to be the summer, mate, because if we are going to identify the right manager, there's going to be more managers available in the summer, and in the summer they can have a proper pre-season.
What if you go for an interim from now to the end of the season? Would that be better than what we're seeing right now?
Yeah, but then the question is who? Who's the interim, Ben? Who?
Yeah.
If you
Harry Redknapp.
I mean, he's. I mean, Ben Davies is older. No,
Postecoglou's available here.
I don't know, man. Michael Carrick is available interim through the rest of the season.
Go try and get Robbie Keane.
Well,
boys, something has to happen though. Something has to happen for the positive, and I don't see with Frank anything different in the next few months than what we've been served up to now. So any changes, what's the worst that can happen? Because we're in a similar sort of league run as we were under Postecoglou. I don't think we're that much different last year to this year in terms of how results-wise. I mean,
do you know what it is as well? Like, he does weird things. Like today, we saw the starting lineup and we thought, oh, good, Kudus in the 10. And after 15 minutes, you could see Odegaard was in the 10 and Kudus was wide. And you're thinking, oh, come on, Odegaard's better wide. Why? What? Kudus has played in the 10. Why have you done that? It's these little things. And when you add up all the little things, we just look dysfunctional.
Yeah, I agree with that. Totally agree.
it's little things, but
How do we get the unity between fans, manager, club, players again? Until we become that one again, this can only head one way, and it's proper south.
Enoch have to fix it. Enoch have to fix it.
It's everybody.
Enoch won the club again.
We've never been more divided right now, and it's so sad. We're thinking, how good it was on the 21st of May, and how we found ourselves in this situation in such a short space of time. Only at Tottenham this can happen, man. And for me, I don't see how we're going to get that unity, because the results are not forthcoming. Patterns of play, the way we're playing. Even if you put the results to one side, what we're seeing on the pitch in terms of playing, it's not good enough. And player performances today, how many of them will get 7, 8 out of 10? Not many, mate. Maybe 2, 3. I thought Power was decent today. I thought Van de Ven was good. But for the rest of it, mate, 5, 6.
Romero chesting the ball down and then doing a reverse volley to their striker. That was spectacular. I mean,
with Romero, that's not ability. That's not ability. That's just like concentration. They're not there. This is the problem I find, that they're not in the moment in terms of 100% focus to give. It's like they're going through the motions because they know they're going to have a hard afternoon playing at home, ironically. And I just don't see from game to game where the improvements are coming or where they're going to come from.
Listen, JP's waiting quietly in the back. We've got to go get some kebabs. So
you go and have your first enjoyment of the day, mate. See you later.
See you later, guys. See you later, boys. I have to say, if, and it seems right that Frank has stormed off, if he has had a jab at the fans in press conference, I don't think I can defend him anymore. I forget the league form, forget the. It's inexcusable. What I will say with what Iggy was saying about the unity together, this has been a culture thing with the club, hasn't it? This has just been a long time thing with this football club, that there's no consequences for your action, there's no accountability, and our players just have an easy ride, like Conte said, like manager, like Tim Sherwood said 10, 15 years ago, whenever it was. But if Frank has stormed down the tunnel, which I think is a bad sign if he has, and he has a dig at the fans, then I think I have got to say I'm not defending it anymore. I've got to say that's it, game over.
Look, if Brian can't defend it anymore, then I don't think anyone can defend it anymore.
There's certain things I won't tolerate, and forget the football, forget the results. I can't tolerate that.
Don't blame you, mate. But let's move on. Next up is Spurs Are My Life. Not much of a life. Not much of a life these days.
Boy, it's a rough go, isn't it? It's a rough go. Yeah. I don't have too much time, so I will get across what I want to say. Maybe 5 minutes, if that. I thought today it's just the bipolar Tottenham we've been seeing all season, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hot, cold, up, down, that sort of thing. I was watching the game downstairs and just like screaming the entire time, because it's just like, just when it's about to look fluid and go forward, it just dissipates. And I'm like, what is going on? And I just want to jump off the back of what Stel said, and I try not to be negative, but guys, it's not looking good. If he stormed, I've seen this movie before with, like, I'm a Canadian and I love the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is an analogy. Yeah, I'm a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan. They play NHL ice hockey, and they just recently had a great run, almost got to the final of the playoffs, and then switched the coach. And like, what I'm seeing was a bunch of young players at the time who have developed now into superstars. They just fell out with the coach, but their play this season has sort of like showed that. And I feel like we're starting to see the same thing with Spurs. I just don't think these players are playing for Frank because they don't know what to do. As soon as they get into the opponent's half and possess the ball, when Van de Ven steps up with Romero and they play that back four inside of the opposition's half, no one knows what to do. It's give the ball to the wing, hope Kudus can pull off prime Neymar skills, and just pray he gets to the net. But at the end of the day, that's not a sustainable way to play. And I thought today Sunderland were the better team on the day, because in the day, on the second half, tale of two halves. They dominated that second half. Yeah. And Robbie's goal just in cat. Like I was watching as soon as that little flick with Xhaka happened. I'm like, that's it. They scored 1-1, and it's like I'm checking FootMob the whole time, like being like, oh, if we win this game, we'll move up to 7th. It's like, forget it. Like who cares? Like we suck. We just suck.
Yeah, it's absolutely spot on, and like. It's hard to get behind anything when you don't see a plan in place, and you see players just not believing in what we're trying to do, and disgruntlement in the fan base and the away end booing, the home fans booing. And it's like, where are you at specifically with Thomas Frank? Are you one that want him out tonight? Would you be happy for him to go tonight?
I wouldn't be upset if he went tonight. I really wouldn't be, but I can't see a world where it happens. I think with the January transfer window, again, early days still, unless you need to pay up or shut up. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. Frank's crying out for an SOS, and it's like he can talk about, like, you watch his interviews, and who said it? I think Ezekiel said it about how he was a personable guy and stuff like that. You don't see it. Like, mind my words, the guy's a dick. He feels like, I feel like when I watch his press conferences, he's like very like, I'm going to repeat my answer again. I'm not going to try to like, he's very like, I feel like he's very negative. And it's like, yeah, we're going through a negative time, but you got to like say something to get the fans back on side. Like the boring Tottenham. I thought it was Arsenal in the away end. Like, it's so, like, the only thing that he could do for me to win me back on side is to go batter the filth at home. If we beat Arsenal on or whenever it is, like, even if he gets that time, he's not going to get that time. Mm-hmm. But God forbid he gets that time. And that's the only way I think he's going to get the fans back. And that is a substantial ask with the way we're playing right now. And it's just never going to happen. And guys, it's going to happen. They're going to win the league this year. Like, they're going to win the league this year. And we've got to come to terms with that. Look at their team. Of course, I don't want to say it. I hate them more than anybody. But you watch the way a team like them play versus a team like we play. They brought in Arteta. They finished 8th. They had these colossal mishaps. Ramsdale got chipped in the Europa League from half. But you look at it now, they've stuck with him, and yet they've struggled for a while, but you're finally reaping the benefits of that. But I just feel like even in Arteta's first season, he had a game plan. It was a 4-3-3 where they were going to press you from the front and cause turnovers and go attack. With this formation and how Frank is playing, I don't see it. Nothing is there to show me that we can have a chance. And obviously, I don't want to say that Arsenal are going to win the league. Really don't want to say that. It's just that Man City keep dropping games. I hope you're right, Alex. I hope they don't win shit. But if Liverpool and City keep dropping games, these inevitable lucky away days that they always get, that by the grace of God, Declan Rice can pull out a brace out of his ass, these games are going to eventually add up if the other teams can't win. And City and Liverpool, they're regressing. And it's worrying. Like, so, I don't know, man. I think if you're thinking for a future coach, because I am Frank out at this point, I think he has to go. It's the equivalent of storming down the tunnels, the equivalent of Ange ear-cupping the fans. I can't go get Pochettino. You got to move on. Mm-hmm. I think Xavi Hernandez has got to be the next man up. Either that or Julian Nagelsmann if you're going to pay the money. But I think Xavi's got a good track record of developing young players. And the squad that we've got right now, I think that's the most rational option.
Yeah, you talk about how uninspiring Frank is and how his press conferences are terrible. Look, I wasn't the biggest Ange Postecoglou fan, and if you watched any of the content last year, you probably would have known that.
The wars that would go on. Oh my God!
Look, I wasn't the biggest Ange fan, but having said that, watching both those guys' press conferences, I was a fan of bringing Frank to the club, or when he was at the club, I was a fan of him being the manager. I watched both the press conferences, both playing or getting similar results in the short term. Mm-hmm. I watched Ange's press conference. We were 17th, but I would believe in those press conferences, and I can understand why players want to run through brick walls with him. As much as I didn't want him as manager, and I thought sacking him was the right idea. These Frank press conferences, it just makes me want to turn them off. Like, I seriously don't want to watch them. He's going at fans. Nothing he says makes sense. He contradicts himself. just in the press conferences alone, it just seems like as much as I'm going to admit I was wrong, it just feels like the wrong decision, swapping this manager for this manager right now.
Ben, watching him speak is straight up demoralizing.
Yeah.
It is saddening. And you go from, it's just who we are, to, you go from that to, like, are you not entertained when we would throw up the gun hole, we'd score 5 goals a game and concede 8, to now it's like, just like, it's utter dross. It's terrible. Like, the style of play is so, like, I'm numb to it at this point. It's like, it's just like, all right, we're going to go out there, we'll generate 0.4 XG, and be like, all right, nice game. We'll take our points, and we'll end this season on 48 points. That's how it feels right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Ben. I definitely do agree with you that sacking Ange was the right move, because you can't think emotionally. You've got to think for the future. And I loved Ange more than anybody. I really wanted a character like him to stay. Definitely wasn't a character issue. It was a performance issue. And eventually, it's a results-based business. But this guy, man, he's shocking. He's like, I honestly think that, like, Redknapp as an interim, I think Stell said it as a joke, but I honestly think that we'd get better results. Like, honestly, I feel like none of the players are playing for him right now. And even there was rumors about that last year with Romero being like, oh, I don't want to play for Ange. But then you see what ends up happening, being like, I was shocked when he left. I actually think that was Van de Ven saying, like, I was shocked when he left. There was a connection there between those players. You watch the documentary that they put out. It's like these players want to play for him. But this, I don't know what's going on right now, man. And if he goes, good. If he doesn't, I don't know how much longer. I think the writing's on the wall.
It's like we swapped a manager who had the kind of personality but didn't have the results behind him for a manager that doesn't have the results or the personality. It's just like, you can't make it up, can you? You just cannot.
Yeah, it's just, again, he's shocking, and it's just like you get a good group of players. They're decent, like, right? Like, they're obviously no one in this squad right now are world beaters yet. Hopefully, Xavi, Kudus. One kid I really like the look of is Luca Williams-Barnett. You watch the academy games, the guy just dominates. Mm-hmm. I wish Frank would have given him a chance today when we were really lacking that creativity in the final few minutes, as soon as Sunderland equalized. But you can see there's potential there, and that's why I think Xavi's a good coach. If you can get, again, he's only coached once before, and it was with Barcelona, where if I coached Barca, we'd probably win the league. But again, I think his track record of developing enough youth, I think, could prosper into a good team one day. But again, it's going to take time, and I know we don't want it to, but I don't think it's going to take time with this manager.
Fair enough. Thank you for coming on today, my friend.
Cheers, buddy.
Absolutely, Ben, Brian, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Very happy to talk to you guys.
Come to the Scotland Yard, buddy. Come to the Scotland Yard.
I hope, I live a good 4-hour drive away.
Oh, bloody hell, don't.
I visit Toronto usually throughout the holidays. I'll try to see if I can make an appearance one day. Love to.
It'd be good to see you, buddy.
Nice to see you guys. Take care.
See you later.
See you later, mate.
The Canadians are coming in here. We had outside Scotland Yard.
You're like a magnet to them, mate. You're like a magnet.
I am.
Let's go on and speak to Alexander. Oh, Alexander, what have you got to say after that one?
Yeah, guys, honestly, it's just a sad day, honestly, but...
Every day's a sad day when Tottenham play.
I'm still deluded. Guys. I'm still a little bit deluded, just a little bit. But
talk to me about your delusions.
We're all, as a fan base, we're all over the place, like literally all over the place.
Can you blame us?
Many varieties of where you stand, or who you blame. There's so many divisions, and I just think anybody who isn't biased can. At least in my opinion, I don't think this game today is on Frank. I don't. And I know there's the argument of maybe in the second half he told him to sit back a little, guard a 1-0 lead. But at least he's being honest about it. He's said it in press conferences, and he's expressed it in the way he's managed his team. He doesn't trust these forwards. He doesn't trust him to kill off a game. He doesn't. He just doesn't. And the way we wasted chances in that first half today, I mean, is he wrong? Can you blame him? when we have that chance to actually go up 2-3-0 up in the first half, and we shit ourselves. Colo, Richie, it just goes wrong every time, you know. And we know this. We've seen this during the years. When we don't take our chances during the first half, it usually always goes south, despite the manager. When we don't take our chances, when we just don't have that clinicality, then it usually goes to shit. And I just think we have to blame our players more, because the game plan today wasn't. I think you couldn't criticize the subs. I think they were right. His game plan tactically was right. I don't know what there is more to do, but at the same time, I still know what Frank is, what kind of manager he is. Brentford, that's on him. That's on him. You could even argue like he wanted to give him a goddamn consolation point. Like, here you go, my old club. Like, it was that kind of performance, you know. And you have to call it out when it's bad. But today it wasn't on him, in my opinion. I just don't think it was. In parts, of course, because nobody's ever free of blame when the result goes south. But today he wasn't mostly to blame. I don't think he was.
But when you see kind of similar patterns emerging, and the second half we did sit back, and after such a positive first half, you didn't look like Sunderland were anywhere close to getting a goal or mounting any pressure or dominating the game. Do you not think just keep going until you can get that second goal? Like, why didn't we do that?
Yeah, it's valid. We were at home though, and you can see we had more chances than them. They had less chances than us, and they still capitalized on the little chance they had. What does that say about our forwards? Let's be honest. They had 2-3 dangerous chances, and they actually put one away. Clinically, that shows.
Yeah, but Alexander,
Like,
I get the forwards are not good enough, and our front line needs a lot more quality. However, you've got teams like Leeds, Burnley, like all these teams are creating more chances than us at this moment in time.
yeah,
So
that's totally on Frank, Ben. Ben, that's totally on Frank. For the last 2 seasons in the Premier League, Brentford's shots on target ratio has been the highest in the league, meaning they're the most sort of less risk taking when it comes to actual shooting. They win the team during the last 3 years in the Premier League that has shot the least outside of the box. It's Frank's football. It's his low XG, like don't shoot in low XG areas. It's this kind of mentality. I think you will see that work eventually, but he's at Spurs now. He doesn't get the same amount of time as he did at Brentford. At Brentford, he did all these kind of great things when they averaged 6 shots per game under him during the last 3 years. With us, is it even 3?
Yeah.
It's gone down. It's gone down. He had better forwards, but I think it's all about when he gets time, and when the players also. It's important to say the players, despite take their quality out of the equation, they have to get used to his system. They have to believe in it. You know the 10,000-hour rule. Yeah, that you have to practice. You have to practice something to actually become good at it, for it to become like muscle memory. For you. Those players at Brentford, they had it in their muscle memory. Like they knew exactly what. He didn't even need to be on the touchlines for most games. Like that was just his team. Okay, I don't put him on this pedestal. I don't like Conte and all these other managers. They're way above him. But I just think as fans right now, some fans, they don't even watch other leagues. I'm gonna be honest. They don't watch other leagues. They don't watch other teams consistently. So in their minds, our players, they're like, how can somebody be better than, like, let's take Bentancur. How can somebody play like Bentancur for the first half, but for 90 minutes? Like, is there actual players out there that we can get that can actually do that? Like, I don't think it's in their heads. So their normal reaction is to blame, of course, Frank for everything. He is to blame for a lot of things, but not for everything. And I think fans that are like on him for everything, it's not right. And I just want to add, if you sack a manager in the middle of a window, what you're doing is you're shooting yourself in the foot, because any player with self-respect and quality is not joining a managerless club like in January during a summer which has a World Cup. Like, no player of like quality that we need to up our recruitment. No player is gonna join that. So you have to at least give it until January, get good players in, and our focus has to be recruitment. Honestly, like because I've heard fans. Okay, you can call out Frank. I call him out shit. Like, I cuss at my TV when he does bad things. But where's the focus on Enoch? Where's our expectations on them to deliver? Where's our signings? Kudus might be injured now. it's not going to prove that we're a reactive club, because now we're going to maybe accelerate our replacement of Johnson and Kudus, like two players we're missing now from the squad, and we have to see Enoch improve. And if they improve and Frank doesn't, like if they get him players and he doesn't, then you sack him. Of course you sack him. There's no other excuse. But we have to take everything into consideration. Fans to say sack him today, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're setting yourself back another season, which doesn't have to be in the case if our board goes out now and are serious in the window, then we can see something. But if he doesn't improve on that, then you sack him, of course. I just think we're.
But when these players that we're going for are looking at the way we're playing, are looking at the current club in the current state that it's in, what top players can we even attract with Thomas Frank?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Honestly, I think you have to go for players. You can't go for the top caliber ones, but you'll go for players that have something to prove, that maybe won a feature in a World Cup squad. That Savinho, for example, he wouldn't come to us because he sees us as the best project in the land. He comes to us because he wants game time for the World Cup. You have to take other factors into consideration, but honestly, I just think we have to widen our we have to widen our scope a little, and I don't think it's all to blame on Frank, because last season we said, well look at I get sick and tired of keeping it up, and he missed Mickey and Romero for the major part of the season. That was the reason for why we leaked goals. Concrete, no denying why we leaked goals. Our top centre backs missing, Archie and Dragusin in defense for a lot of Premier League games. Why isn't the same logic being applied in attack? Not entirely, but in some instance. We miss Son, which we haven't replaced. We didn't replace him at all. He got 39 GA last season, despite him being on decline. 39 GA in all competitions. You then have Son, Matters, and Matters, Kulu, and Solanke, which feature in most of our games. They're all missing. Why isn't the same logic being applied in attack, where we're lacking, where we're not capitalizing on our chances as much? The logic has to go both ways, especially if you're a more pro Ange fan that wanted him to stay in. Like you have to take all of that into consideration. And
yeah, look, I agree with that, Alexander, to a certain extent. However, like when you're looking at the centre backs that came in instead of Mickey, we're playing Archie Gray, an 18-year-old midfielder at centre back for large part. Dragsheen, obviously, he got his ACL. Ben Davis coming in, a 32-year-old that we all think is past his sell-by date. You're looking at the attackers that are playing for Spurs. We've brought in a Mohamed Kudus in the summer, big money signing. Needs to be getting more GAs than he's getting. We brought in a Javi Simmons that we all thought was going to be a lot better than what he's showing right now. Richarlison's our top goal scorer, 7 goals so far this season. Don't get me wrong, the quality has gone down. If obviously Madison's there, Kulusevski's there, Solanke's there, the quality rises. But the drop-off in quality is nowhere near as big as what it was last season in defence.
No, it's a valid point, and sometimes the Brentford, our first shot on target in the 86th minute, that's disgraceful. And I think it's a lot down to, because we could be 0-0 down and have 5 shots on target and actually had let's say a decent performance. But yeah, Frank, you could see today, he went against Frank, because what he did today, shooting outside the box and shooting in, be honest now, how many players do we see shooting from positions tell shots from today?
We don't.
Not many.
It's
when
we see him shoot, it's supposed to be a regular thing, but he, and I think if Frank just changed up a little in that instance, then I think it wouldn't change our performances so much, because I still don't think the quality in the front third is there, but it would change the fans' perception, because they would actually see higher XG, more shots on target, and then in that instance they would calm down a little, because we can actually see that we're trying. But seeing no shots on target, and of course you get the reactions like you do in the stadium, fans booing and all that. I'm gonna be brutal. I know they're paying great money to go and see the team, but if you're standing here for 90 minutes, not even sharing on properly, and booing, you haven't even supported the team properly. And I know I'm from Sweden. My perception of fan support is different. Here during the World Cup qualifier for Sweden, we were 3-0 down against Switzerland. We had a Danish manager, funnily enough, named Thomasson. He threw our entire World Cup. He did an inside job. He fucked fucked Sweden up in the qualifiers. 3-0 down to Switzerland. We're doing the puzzling. And it's a difference. It's a difference, and
Yeah.
I think you English fans, you have the best league in the world. It's a privilege in that sense, but many don't do themselves favors when it comes to like supporting. You know, it's and Frank walking down the tunnel is bad, but honestly, I just think he's also it's not excusable, but he's frustrated with the way he's going to. Fans think like, oh no, this is good for him. We're mid-table. This is actually what we wanted. It's not. Like you can see, he's pissed. He's pissed too, and yeah, just all over. Kuti too. Like honestly, I wouldn't. I've gotten to the point where I don't even mind us cashing him in him in the summer. If he wants to go to Atletico for 60 million, cash in on him. Honestly, Dan Soder in the last games where he's featured, our performances have actually been better. Like they have been during the last games, and Vicario too. That flapping moment, I'm like, Flappy Bird Vicario. Like I'm just like, Inter, you want it for 20 million? Go ahead in the summer too. Like if we do that as a club, if we actually move on, let's say Kuti and Vicario in the summer, then that shows me that, and we bring in quality, of course, replace with. Then that shows me actually that we're on the right track. But I also want to see this now in this January because what are the rumors for? We haven't heard any concrete rumors for any forwards this far.
No, all we've heard is a 19-year-old Brazilian left back, which we're lowballing for.
Exactly. And
Lowballing for? What a shock.
Lange at the helm still, guys, and it's so much you can put on. Like Kudos going off in the 10th minute, and that changed the game plan. And Berg, it was the same with Berg while they're in Chelsea. Like there's not an excuse. You should be able to adapt in game, but yeah, it's all really. It's all over the place. I think all fans can agree on that, but I don't think it's the right decision to sack him now. They're in the villa.
That's fine. Let me ask you this. You've seen what you're talking about with the fans booing home and away. You've seen him walk straight down the tunnel. Do you think that signals...
are justified, but the home fans, it's a different question in my opinion.
Do you feel that does signal the beginning of the end?
100% for me, unfortunately.
I think fans are very, very reactive. Let's say we go on and perform in 2 games. I think 2 games from now on the bounce, we win convincingly, and I think it'll change.
Can you see that happening, though?
With Xavi back, possibly. Him coming back and feeling like he has a point to prove being on top of his game, I think it changes a lot, honestly. If he comes in, I think we have a good chance of it. But... yeah, I think just it's result based, honestly. But if we see the same sort of approach that we did today too, away against Bournemouth, and I think it'll change a lot too. And with Xavi back, I don't see why we can't do that. And yeah, there's even more guys. I mean, yeah, I don't know what we're supposed, but many fans, even during the start of the season, they say this is a write-off season. This like whatever happens, like look how much of a mess we were in last season. But now all of a sudden it isn't. Now we actually, I just think I'm never the one to think it's a write-off season. Just whatever happens. I want Europa League this season. I don't want Champions League. I want Europa League because I believe if we get back in that competition and actually take it seriously like last year, then who says we can't win two Europa Leagues in 3 years? That would be amazing for us as a fan base again. But I just think we have to do well in this window. That's what it all goes down to. And if we don't, then bring in another manager, which might be the right decision then. But you can't think we're gonna go somewhere as a club if we don't start changing the recruitment. The recruitment is number one. Then culture comes. The culture is broken at the club. I don't think any player coming into Spurs gets optimized in performance when it comes to actual expectations, having to win, having this, as King described, Bayern. Like, of course, there's going to be a difference, but you know what he spoke about is like Spurs. It wasn't no big deal to lose 2 games in a row or whatever. That culture has to change because that culture affects performance. It affects comfortability, which Conte mentioned. Comfortability, it comes naturally. It doesn't. Unless you're a top, like world-class professional, then every game is life or death for you. But for our players, we don't have that. We don't have world-class players. So for them, the comfortability gets to them, and you can see it on the pitch. most games, when they're giving up silly fouls, when we go a goal down, like when they lose their heads, that's a big sign of it. And yeah, I've yapped off, but I just think we have to be a little balanced, and sacking Frank, it will be the right decision, the only right decision, if he gets back this window and still doesn't improve. That's the short sort of summary for me, at least.
Well, we'll have to see how it all pans out. Alexander, thank you for coming on today, my friend.
See you later, Alex,
Thanks,
buddy. Yeah, it's going to be anything but a dull January, isn't it now?
Oh,
Management,
mate.
players in, out.
Mate.
It's going to be anything but dull and anything but quiet.
Let's move on to our next guest. He goes by the name of Nate, CDO Spurs. How are we, Nate, today?
So, Nate.
Could be better. How are you guys?
Could be better.
Frustrating, man. Just another day in paradise, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Definitely one way to put it. Paradise.
But yeah, look, it was a positive first half performance and then all went wrong in the second half. I mean, I've seen opinions blaming it on the players, blaming it on Frank. Where are you at with it?
For me, it's just the same things we've been seeing all season. Like, I hear the players' part, I hear the manager's part. I get both. Like, I don't think, like I said, I've been saying this all season. I don't think one is just culpable. I don't think there's one scapegoat. I think it's both. But when I'm seeing, and listen, I don't even watch Thomas Frank's press conferences anymore because I'm that checked out, to be honest. I just don't watch it. But I see the quotes from Twitter, and he's saying that Bergvall is a like for like with Wilson Odegaard, and that just does my head in because it's like,
Is that what he said?
What he said this in a quote. He said that because he was talking about like the substitutions about bringing on Paulinia, and he was saying that like bringing on Bergvall was a like for Wilson Odegaard, and I was just like, what? And this goes to a larger thing that I was talking about this season in terms of. I thought Thomas Frank was brought in to also get the best out of what he's given. He's developed Tony, Mbuemo, Wissa, all these players he's developed, made them stars. If I look at Spurs, who has he actually developed? He's misprofiling Bergvall. I don't even know, like, maybe you could probably say, like, Gray's done a little bit better, but even then, like, I think Bergvall's, like, the huge pinpoint of, like, he's actually regressed Bergvall. Frank keeps shoving him in like this weird 10 role when he's not at 10. Bergvall's clearly not at 10. So for me, it's just a mismanagement of players, lack of tactics, and now we're scapegoating Kudus when Kudus is, again, we sold Son, Brennan Johnson. The next one up there who's getting the goals and assists is Kudus. But we're going to sell him too. We're going to start scapegoating him too. It's like, guys, we have bigger problems in the squad than Kudus, and our only tactic is to launch it to Kudus and expect him to come out of every single situation that he's put in. It doesn't make any sense, man. I don't know. It's just.
I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent, but I've lost patience with Thomas Frank. I really have, and let me just put that out there before what I'm going to say next, because what you're talking about with developing players, that happens over a long period of time. You're talking about Tony getting developed over a couple of years. You're talking about Mbuemo getting developed over... These all happened over a couple of years. He's only been in the job for 5 months. So how much time does he even have to develop these kind of players?
But I'm trying to say that we're seeing progression in these players. Like, even Romero looks worse. Like, Van de Ven, like, we've been talking about Van de Ven for a minute now. Like, Van de Ven has been regressing. I think George pointed that out as well in his model.
You reckon Van de Ven's regressing?
In terms of he's not looking that good as he has been looking. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Van de Ven, he's not passing right. Like, making mistakes. Romero as well as making mistakes. Romero put a wild pass again today that he did the same pass again versus Liverpool as well. Like, these players are not looking how they should. And maybe that's not all down to Frank. But I would say that if a lot of these players are making these dumb mistakes and not looking their best, then I would say that there is something in that with the manager. That's what I would say on that point.
Well, the good thing is, at least now, which we can talk about now, Xavi Simons is back. So at least there is if Kudus is out, there is another creative one, but is it going to be the creativity, let's just give it to you and hit and hope, or maybe Kudus isn't as injured as bad as we think or whatever. And they both looked very good together when they were on. But one good thing to take out of the game, like as soon as the final whistle went, is Xavi is back, and Xavi needs to come back and set the ground running. Obviously, getting sent off for a stupid tackle, and we need him to come with a point to prove and really set the world on fire, really, because we need a bright spark, don't we?
Yeah, but and then even then, well, that's a lot to put on Xavi for a guy
Correct.
that, like, he has looked better this season. He has looked better, but still, we already know he's been struggling a lot this season as well. So that's a lot of pressure on him as well. So, and this is where I'm empathetic to Frank, because the squad depth is lacking. It's obviously the squad depth isn't there, and there is a lot of responsibility on Enoch and the Lewis family and the board to back the manager and purchase players that will up the level of the squad. But then it goes back to the point where it's like we haven't seen any tangible links so far in terms of attackers. We've seen the defenders are putting in like 8.5 million bids for young Brazilian defenders.
Yeah.
I thought we had like over 100 million to spend. I don't know why we're putting in such cheap bids, but that's a whole other conversation. But I haven't seen any tangible links. And even when I look at the market in terms of attackers that actually raise their level, I don't see the market is there, at least right now in January. Like, I would love Njai, but would Everton really let Njai go? Probably not. Obviously, Semenyo is going to City. Like, I don't think the quality that we need for attack is really out there in the market anyway. So they're going to have a lot to do, Enoch. And we're already creeping a couple of days into January here, and nothing tangible is there. So, like, we're not even really working on anything too serious. Mm-hmm. So, for me, it's a culmination of so many things right now at Tottenham Hotspur, and it's just frustrating because, like I said, I always hate to do it, but we could have pushed on. We could have had something. But the moment you sacked Ange, it was time to reset. We're back to square one. And it's just so frustrating. And I just want to say, like, for the home fans and the support and stuff like that, I want to defend the home fans because we've been asked to have so much patience for so freaking long. For so long. And we just won a trophy. We should be the happiest ever right now. And we should be kicking on to win more trophies. But now we're back here at square one, and I feel worse compared to before we won the trophy. How's that even possible? Like, I feel like in a worse position compared to before we won the trophy. So I don't think it's fair for when Frank ever talks about the home fans and stuff like that and the support. I don't think that's fair because we've been extremely patient as Spurs fans, extremely patient. So it's a mess. It's just a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at least like when we were losing week after week and 17th in the league under Ange, at least we had that Europa League to look forward to and to cling on to. What have we got now?
Yeah, and
what have we got now?
Yeah, exactly that. And we have a tough match against Aston Villa. I don't expect us to win. I really don't. And after that, Frank's neck is on the line. Like, if we crash out of that, depending on the performance, I don't even think the performance even matters. If we lose that game, I think Frank might be done, if I'm being honest. Because after that, there is nothing left. Yeah. Like, there's nothing left to look forward to. And then there's the stuff about him now walking off, not applauding the fans. I know that he said that the players should no longer huddle in front of the fans anymore. They should huddle, like, in the middle of the pitch.
Is that what he said?
It's just... it could be some Twitter nonsense, but this is a couple weeks ago where, like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't think the players huddle in front of, like, the home ends anymore. I think they usually huddle, like, closer to the middle of the pitch now.
Right.
So I think that's like an instruction from Frank or like the squad or the players decide to do that. I don't know, one of the two, but I don't think they huddle in front of the fans closer to the home fans anymore.
Because that's going to make the connection so much better, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's just these little things where it's just driving a wedge in the whole club, and the culture is non-existent. Like, from top to bottom, there's just a mess. That's why, like, I don't want to just blame it only on Frank. Like, I think Frank is definitely hugely culpable, but it's not just only him. Like, there's so many things wrong with Spurs at the moment. And it starts from top. It starts from the top. And right now, what I'm seeing from the top isn't giving me confidence either. And it's a whole new board as well. And I know, like you were saying, that, like, it's still pretty much like the Levy remnants of, like, his things that he's touched are still there. So it's going to take time for that as well. But again, it goes back to the whole thing of time. We've been asked for time since Poch left. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't even know where we go from here. Like, if I'm being honest, like, I'm extremely pessimistic right now. I think it's doomsday. I think it's genuinely doomsday. I don't know how you guys feel long term at Spurs, but I don't see where this is going to change. So.
Yeah, and it's. I feel the same, and I think most Spurs fans feel the same, to be honest. And I think it's in terms of what we're seeing on the pitch, and in terms of what we're seeing off the pitch, I think it's worse. It's as bad as it's ever been at Tottenham.
Is it bad? Is it worse than last season? Like,
I
would
think
you
it
say
very
that?
well
Like-
could be, because at least last season you could cling on to the fact that we had 13 players out, and you could key
Yeah.
point of a big reason why we were losing. Whether you thought the manager was the right manager or not, that still had a key factor in it. Now we've got
Yeah.
injuries, but not as many detrimental injuries as we had last season. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And like I was saying, like even like with the attackers of like Kulusevski, Madison, XYZ, like let's be real, like even last season, like we still had countless players out. And while Kulusevski was there for most of it, and Madison stayed fit for some of it as well, and we still had Sun there at times, like they were playing every single game. They did not rest. They did not rotate. There was nothing off the bench. They were playing every single game. And I don't think people talk about this enough. Like if you actually go back and look at, like I encourage everyone to go back and look at the lineups for every single game. It was these same attackers again and again and again.
Yeah.
We talk about Kudus being driven to the ground. What happened to those players? So I always hate the whole, oh, you finished 17th last season. Like you should be grateful for where you're at. Like there was reasons for that. And I agree. Like I think this is worse than last season. Like I feel no connection to this club at all. And I don't see how it's going to get any better.
yeah, well, you and me, same, bro. But Nay, thanks for coming on, bro.
Speak to you soon, buddy.
It's a pleasure. You guys take care.
See you soon, geezers.
All right, let's keep it rolling. David on next.
At least it's not stupid o'clock in the morning, or is it?
Yeah, well, it is now.
Yeah, probably is now, yeah.
David, what's the time where you are?
It's 3:19
Oh,
in
Jesus
the morning.
Christ.
3:19.
Very much
God.
prime stupid o'clock.
How many Cokes you had since the start of the game?
I had 2 Cokes during the game and 1 Coke before the game.
So,
So it's three. Three last time.
Are you a live wire, or are you ready to go to bed?
I'm ready to go to bed after this.
Talk to me about your thoughts on the game.
I liked the first half. I was happy to see an improvement from the Brentford game. But then going into the second half, I just had a gut feeling telling me that we're then going to sit back in the second half and they're going to come at us and they're going to score. And that's exactly what happened. The first half was better, but we did waste a lot of chances. Like, for example, Pearl wins it on the wing, and instead of driving it up the pitch, he tries to lob the goalkeeper, which I was so mad to see, because instead of creating something, he wasted it in seconds. And I saw that quite a few times where we won the ball back and we just didn't create anything. The final pass in the final third, it was non-existent. And that's why I do think we really need to reinforce our attackers, because the attackers that we've got right now, they might be good with bringing the ball up the pitch, but when it comes to that final pass, through ball, or that final shot, it's not there. It's just non-existent. Kudus is now injured. Hopefully he's not injured for a long time, but we don't really have any good attacking players in the squad.
Yeah, I know. And that's a big problem. But, as much as the good attacking players in the squad, we need to be seeing Frank being able to utilise the plays that he has had. And he has had good attackers, and Kudus has been there all season. Javi's been there. We've had players available, but we haven't been able to see Frank utilise what he has at his disposal to any sort of decent level. So, I mean, we can talk about the options and the quality in the squad till the cows come home, but it's always going to go back to Frank, isn't it?
Exactly. And one thing which I'd like to say about Kudus is I've seen on the chat, like, sometimes Spurs fans do give him a bit of hate, which I do think is undeserved, mainly because when we come up against teams, they immediately know that Kudus is our only source of attack. So they always get 2 players or 3 players to man mark him. And so he's then useless the entire game. And I think we've also just overplayed him because we have no replacement, and Ben Johnson's gone. So we really need to strengthen the squad in January, or I think it's just going to go downhill for us for the rest of the season if we don't bring in any players.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on. I just, again, the midfielding, look, Brian, we don't know what would have happened if Kudus had not gone off injured, because obviously he would have played more in the 10. Looking at this now, let's try and have a little bit away from the game. David, if you were in charge right now, what would be your top 2 transfer targets? Not as in, give me names. What do you think is most vital to get Thomas Frank playing and getting more chances for us to take advantage of? Where would you go for the first 2 signings?
First 2 signings, I would have to go for a winger who is versatile, who can play on both wings. That would be the first player who I'd go for, mainly because Johnson's left and we still need a good left winger. So if you can bring in a versatile winger who can cover both wings and plays well on both wings, then that would be perfect. And then I think the other position, which I think we need to strengthen, is it's probably our midfield. Bring in a midfielder who's better than Bentancur. And so those are the 2 main positions which I would strengthen. I think we can keep Richarlison as our striker. He'll get that, or like tap in. He'll get us goals. But it's really, we need that creativity and that balance in midfield and on the wings.
Agreed. It's got a bit. We desperately need a ball-playing midfielder. I keep saying the last senior midfielder we signed was Yves Bissouma. We were talking a little while ago about what was it about? The last player being someone, the last fullback being Porro, or the last central midfielder we bought that was experienced, ready, and wasn't a youngster and potential, was Bissouma. I think that ball-playing midfielder is number 1 on the list. I think it's more important than the winger. I seriously do.
Like, one more thing I'd like to say is, I think we need to bring in a defender in this January transfer window. You've got Takai going out on loan, and Dragusin, as we probably might be leaving the club, and then that leaves us with three centre backs who can play. I don't really understand what Inter doing here. They're getting rid of the Takai, who's young, but at least we've got that squad depth, and at least he can then play a bit. But then we're then selling them, and so hopefully we bring in some replacements, and if we don't, then it'll be a disaster.
Just as you're saying that, Chelsea have just equalised against Man City.
What's the minute?
In the 93rd minute.
Oh, for God's sake!
That's not good for the title race.
No, it's not.
God damn it.
Sorry, I've just lost all train of thought when I saw that goal go in.
I want to ask you guys a question. Who do you see winning the league at this position?
Let's not speak about that, please.
No.
I plead the 5th, or as Harvey Specter says in Suits, I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that I don't want to.
Fair enough.
But I think it's fairly obvious. I just can't see anyone else at the moment. They unfortunately, they keep finding the answers to questions. They find the solutions, and teams are just dropping points left, right, and centre. It's only looking like, for once, everything's going their way, and I can't see it being anyone else but them, unfortunately.
One last thing I'd like to say is, which I think, was it George who said it earlier, I've also lost faith in the club a bit. When it came to game day, it's taken some time, taking some beating, but whenever it's come to game day, I've always been kind of excited to watch Spurs games, but now it's kind of feels, some days I just don't want to, just out of the pain. So
but here we are at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a dedicated Spurs fan.
David, you know what I've started doing now?
Easily.
I've done it for a while now, not just with Frank, the end of Ange as well. The day of the game, the day after the game, I'm interested. I'm looking at Twitter, social media, and what people are saying day after. After that, I'm not looking at a single thing apart from watching We Are Tottenham TV until game day. I've just stopped everything.
That's a good thing for you. I've got back in school. I've got so many friends who hate Spurs, so I've got like an entire week of
Oh Jesus.
pure anti-Spurs speech. So, but yeah, I always try to aim to not look at social media when it comes to Spurs because it's just all depressing news. Us getting rejected by players. So yeah, it's not looking bright. I was really happy in the first half to see us really improve. But in the second half, it's just like same old Spurs. We sat back. It looked like we sat back. I don't know if that was the plan, but we sat back, and of course they scored. So it's not much to say, except for just depressing.
Yeah, tell me about it. But look, we'll let you get off and get some much needed sleep.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for
I love
coming on
I
again
love
today.
what you guys do. I watch
Thank
all
you,
the
mate.
videos. So
Thank you.
yeah,
We'll
Have a
speak
nice
soon,
day.
yeah? You too.
See you later, bud.
Yeah.
Bye. All right, 2 weeks in a row. Well, twice in 1 week, I would say. Mikey.
Becoming a trend.
Yeah, well, you know, it's a privilege for you guys. No, it's a privilege for me as well to have me to be here. No, it's I try to come on. I'm gonna try and come on more regularly, but it's just coincided that amongst a sea of bad performances, one of our worst in living memory, and that second half have kind of come while I've been back on the show. So, is there a connection there?
Maybe you should stop coming on, yeah.
Well, I stopped coming on for about a year, and look how that ended. You got a
Yeah,
trophy,
we won
but
the
apart
Europa League, exactly.
Well, I mean, since the beginning of 2024, we've been absolute dross in English football. So
True, very true. But
No,
yeah, what are your thoughts today, mate?
I was contemplating about coming on here or not, kind of at half time, thinking, is there going to be too much positivity going round? And of course, there isn't, because that was not. I'm going to be very serious here. I genuinely cannot understand what he's done. I was making notes throughout the game, thinking, there's going to be great talking points, and we started off so well. We exploited them amazingly. It felt like they played. I was a little bit cautious because it felt like they played directly into our hands. Like we were definitely better than them on top, but they seemed to play kind of directly into what we had planned to do, and that's a testament to Frank doing his research. God forbid, you praise him for doing the stuff he should be doing, but he did his research and he set us up in the way that we should have been set up. And then half time comes. And I know this isn't what it is, but this is reminding me of, I think Frank's getting a bit of imposter syndrome because every single thing he seems to do is the opposite of a certain Greek Australian. I'm not the biggest Ange proponent. Everyone's coming in talking about Ange. I think we sacked him at the right time. I don't think he's the answer. I think it was too unsustainable. I'm happy that we don't have Ange anymore, to be brutally honest. I think that was a good decision, but I'm not happy that we have Frank. I don't think he trusts us to keep the momentum up, and it just seems to be that he wants to show just how different he is from his predecessor rather. And I think he's not cut out for so much pressure because Spurs fans have been wound up tightly every season, more and more tightly for a few years now. We had to live through, just little things have always gone to get like. One of the things I think of is that we had Gareth Bale back on loan for a season in the one season where there were categorically no fans in the stadium. We had Harry Kane and Heung-min Son's partnership blossom at the right time with no fans in the stadium. We sold Kane and Son without replacing them. We've had manager after manager who has failed to get the best, with the exception of Antonio Conte in 21-22, the best out of the squad they've been given. And because those players haven't performed, we've sold them, replaced them with players who we think are going to perform. They don't perform, and now we're at a stage where our squad has no recognizable superstars in it anymore. I spoke about this a few days ago about the state of the squad and how we don't have, Brian was talking about going back to the likes of Klinsmann, Sheringham and Hoddle, and we don't have a single player that you can look at and think, you know what, he'd start for most clubs on the planet. We don't. We have, Mickey van der Ven aside. Mickey van der Ven aside. But even so, the attack is just good for 45 minutes out of an entire season. That's not good enough. Mohamed Kudus going off injured compounds our misery when we sold Brennan Johnson, who didn't have an amazing game, but didn't have a bad game for Palace today either. it all just compounds itself. It seems like all the factors have finally kind of, as again, they've wound ourselves up and they're finally hitting us at the same time. But it feels like that every season. It's not a one-off thing. At what point do we start just thinking maybe we've pissed off some elemental god?
I've been thinking that for many years, mate. It's nothing new there. It feels like we've always been a cursed club.
No, I saw there was a quote I saw from The Athletic that we did submit the bid for Sousa. The Athletic reported it about an hour ago. It was rejected, and they're not looking to sell for anything less than his release clause, which is about 100 million, which is about 87 million pounds.
Is that right? 87.
Yeah, so his release clause is set at 87 million pounds for clubs outside of Brazil, and they're hesitant to sell him because I think the quote was they think he'll get better and could sell him for a higher fee to a more established club in the future.
So wait a minute, he has a release fee of what you just said, Mikey, and we've bid what, 8 million?
8 million. This is just going off the Athletic report. This is just based on the
a tenth of the release fee. That's going bold.
I believe that I think the Athletic is probably one of the most reliable sources out there when it comes to football transfer news. And Mario Cortejano, one of the Spanish reporters, said that we submitted an 8 million either euro or pound bid, and they rejected it out of hand. And his release clause is set at 87 million pounds. According to the Athletic, which
there was a report yesterday that says they'll be willing to sell for like 12 million or 15 million, whatever it is.
I'm only going off what I'm literally just relaying the facts of what the Athletic said. I've always believed the Athletic have been quite good in their reporting, and you can look that up. I'm desperately trying to make sure I haven't got the wrong information there. But yeah, and there was another kind of Twitter guy who's been quite reputable for transfer sources, said that we're looking at Iliman Ndiaye. We've started to inquire about Iliman Ndiaye, and I love Iliman Ndiaye. But another flashy winger with not a whole lot of end product? Is that really where our transfer priorities should lie? The
Who would you want to go for?
No one, the caliber of player we need is not coming to Tottenham right now.
Mm.
We need goal scorers. We need goal scorers. No player that we have is a goal scorer. I was so excited.
So, Mikey, if the caliber of player that we need is not coming to Spurs, then why shouldn't we go for Ndiaye?
Because again, I know we rely on attackers, but Iliman Ndiaye is a great player. Don't get me wrong, I like him, but he reminds me a lot of Kudus and Odobert, and I think if you're going to get in, if we can't get the caliber of player we want, we at least need to go for something unique than what we currently have. And I don't think Ndiaye is unique enough to warrant the money we're going to spend on him. Where it could be, it could go as well. I think Brian's absolutely right. The midfielder who can, I was thinking about it. We need, for Thomas Frank's system to work, we need 12 players on the pitch. We need a destroyer, a deep lying playmaker, Lucas Bergvall, and a proper attacking midfielder, as well as a front three and a back four. And I think that's sad is that his midfield setup doesn't seem to accommodate three profiles that we need. You need 6, an 8, and a 10. We have an 8, we have a 6, we have a 10, but it never seems to work.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that's on him. It's been a lot more. I think my speech on here has been a lot more kind of scattergun than it was a couple of days ago when I think I made some very good points. It's been kind of all over the place. I'm just very again, same point I made 3 days ago. I'm just very disillusioned. I sound like I care. I do that. But every time I watch us, I don't see any identity. I don't see anything to get excited about. And when I hear him speak, I'm not saying this in who does he think he is, but does he even know what he is? Like, who does he think he is? I'm not saying it in like who does he think he is? But I don't think he even knows what he wants to be.
Mm.
Like, does he want to be a pragmatist who treats Tottenham like Brentford, or does he want to be a top manager who dominates teams? I don't think he knows. I don't think we know. The board, they want to get away from the hire and fire approach. That's fair enough. I agree with that. You've got to get the hiring right. Inevitably, you're going to fire someone if you don't get the hire right. Again, I know ENIC have this kind of hire and fire approach. What is it? 2 managers in the last 25 years that have lasted more than 2 years, I think. I think that was Poch and Redknapp, isn't it? Those are the only 2.
Ange was 2 years, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ange was just about 2 years. So I think who's lasted, Conte's run is so true. I think about that quote almost daily now because it is rotten. It's like
I watch that press conference weekly.
Which one?
Conte's.
Mate, like I said to you today, when I was just going through Twitter, Tim Sherwood's one came up.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and it was like...
That was one of my favourites as well.
It's like he called it out there and then as well. Good times.
I genuinely... I can't understand why there is no balance at Tottenham. The way we play, the boardroom, there doesn't seem to be any semblance of normality. It reminds me a little bit of Arteta's Arsenal. 22-23, amazing football, outstanding football. They play some of the best football in the league, and I say that begrudgingly. But they didn't win the title. Then next season they try and go more pragmatic. They didn't win anything, but they've stuck with Arteta because he showed a bit of something. We've gone from 22-23 Arteta almost to 23-24 Arteta with no comparison in the way our league positions are going. I'm just so sick of hearing him say, oh, it was great, but it wasn't great. And there is a lot more focus that needs to be put on the but. And I think we are at a situation where something has to give, and I don't know what it's going to be. The fans have already started to give. When a 60,000 arena stadium, which has some of the best acoustics in the world, and all you can hear is boos.
Yeah.
I can't see where it goes from here, because we have an away game against Bournemouth, who are erratic but can punish anyone, and with how open we are, they will punish us.
They'll beat us.
Of course they will. Of course they will. And then we're going to Villa at home in the cup, and mathematically we are still capable of dropping out of the Champions League altogether if we lose against Dortmund and Frankfurt, which are both very real possibilities. So by the end of January, we could be out of all the cup competitions. Again, I'm not saying we have a realistic chance of winning the Champions League. I'd love to say we do, but we obviously don't. We could be out of all cup competitions by the end of end of the January transfer window. And then what? Because if they're going to wait to see how he does in the cup competitions and then sack him, as the guy before made an excellent point, it would be so Spurs to sack him with 2 days left of the window, wouldn't it? We have to buy someone.
You'd hope
I don't know. I just can't see. I can't see where we go from here. I really can't. That's sad. But
I think this is all heading one way, and that's Thomas Frank to lose his job. I just don't know when they're going to push that button.
It's not a case of if, but when. It's not a case of if, but when, because the fixtures we have coming up, I have it right here. We have Bournemouth, right? We have Villa, and we have Dortmund coming up in a few of our games. In between, then, right, we have the home derby in less than a month. We've got Spurs versus West Ham. And then come that game, we have an extraordinarily hard run of games in February.
I know.
Yep.
Yeah. Was it Man City, Man United, Newcastle, and Arsenal?
Yeah, City at home, which we are somehow going to win. United away, Newcastle at home, Arsenal at home, and then we've got Fulham, Palace, and Liverpool. 7 games that we could realistically have a chance of losing every single one of them, bar Man City, because we never lose to them.
Yeah.
We have a real...
We'll lose to Man City, don't you worry about that.
Oh, no, somehow we will. No, but if he can't get through January, there is no way in hell he's getting through February.
Yeah. Agreed, unfortunately. Agreed.
And I want it to work. I do. I want it to work. Can you hear the desperation in my voice? I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of seeing these tinted pictures on the Spurs Twitter saying club statement. I just want some normality. Is that so much to ask? In football, yes. But
as a Spurs fan, yes.
As a Spurs fan, yes. Especially as a Spurs fan. But I don't know. Maybe I'm a nostalgia merchant. But I started watching right in Pochettino's his golden dart, whatever, his perfect team.
Yeah.
We are so far away from that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're probably lucky that you started watching then, because it was a hell of a lot of shit before.
Oh, I've heard. I have two regrets in life. One is that I never got to go to White Hart Lane, and the other one is that I haven't seen Messi play live. Those are my two footballing regrets, and White Hart Lane wouldn't have stood for this. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, well,
Anyway,
Mikey.
that's me done.
Thanks for coming on today,
Cheers,
mate.
Mikey.
Thanks, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers, and to you. Let's go to a great name, Ben. How you doing, Ben?
How you doing today, guys?
Big up, Ben.
I'm in Denver, so like this was an 8 a.m. game for me, and I woke up for it, and I started watching in the first 15 minutes. I was like, oh, look at this. We're playing attacking football. Things are going well. We're getting the ball back high up in their wing. We know what we're doing. So clearly, if we get Kudus playing in the 10, which I figured was our most likely outfit without Matters for God knows how long, and Xavi for this game, he's going to be back next game. And then, of course, 15 minutes in, Kudus is going to go down with an injury that we're going to be told is going to last 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll see him in however many months. I hope that's not the case. But at this point, I don't know what's going on with the fact that Solanke was supposed to be gone for a couple of weeks. I don't know how many months ago. So, of course, it was just going to go and have, okay, put Odegaard in the 10. We have people to move around. And the first half played so well. And you got one goal to your back. And I don't know how the halves could be so different without Frank in the middle at halftime being like, that's good, like just try to keep the win now. And like, you can't park the bus one goal up. You need to get at least 2 in. If you get 2 goals in, you can then put a Palhinha on and try to be more defensive. But I don't understand how it was that different first half to second half, being a game I was glad I woke up to watch versus a game that I was towards the end of it being like, how are we going to manage to lose this? I was going to say a couple other things I have written down in terms of like players we're looking to get. Like, I think it's dependent on who we're looking for if we have any idea when Solanke or Matters or Kulu is going to be back. Because I think originally we heard that Kulu might have been back by December, and that clearly didn't happen. So if we don't know if we're going to get a number 9 that can actually put it in the back of the net and stay up off the ground, which seemed to be on either side of the coin, things that Mwani and Richie just cannot get done. I don't know if we go in for another number 9 when we technically have a bunch, just none of them can do their job. Like, we also have a Scarlet we could bring on. We have Mwani, we have Richie. So are we going to waste like actual number 9 money when we have enough? We just need one of them to be able to actually score. Are we going to go out? I don't think we should have sold Johnson, who was the top goal scorer last year and scored the goal that won a cup, without at least a right winger to replace him. Because now with Kudus gone, we don't know if we have a replacement for Johnson coming in, and we now have to spend money on the right wing when we don't know if Kulu's going to be back in a month, and we could have used the money somewhere else in like defense or in midfield. Do we spend the money on another number 10, or do we hope that Xavi gets better and Madison eventually comes back, or Kulu can end up playing there if he gets back? I want like any idea if we're going to have these players by March or April, because I don't want us to get rid of Frank. I don't think we should have gotten rid of Ange when we did, solely because he brought silverware, and then you give the man the summer to get the players that he wants. And if he was going to give us the performance at Spurs this half that he ended up giving at Forest, then fine. October, November, 10, 12 games into the season, go, thank you for the trophy. We gave you the players you wanted, but clearly it isn't working. I think that it was, as much as we were losing last year, it was almost more fun to watch because you could believe what Ange was saying. Like, Ange was a believable person that I don't know what was going on, that he was just shredding hamstrings left and right, and we didn't have Mickey for 2 years in a row. But it's believable that when you were going to get our back line back, that we would do better now. And we've had the back line this whole year, so credit to Frank for the way he's training defensively. I think we have set up better defensively. And at the beginning of the game, I was like, maybe he was like, first half of the season, we're going to do defense. Second half of the season, now we can be offensive because we've locked down the defense, which I think is a legitimate thing you want to do as a coach that saw defensive holes. But then you have no mids and you have no attackers. And With Ange, you're like, when Mickey's back, when Romero's back, if Udogi's back, we'll be fine. With Frank, I'm like, if Matters and Kulu come back, will it make a difference? Because I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know if we get Matters and Kulu back. And now we're like, oh, cool. Now it's not just Kudu's going to get double, triple guarded, because there's more than one actually creative player for people to worry about. But I don't know if it gets better with them back. I'd like to give Frank the chance. But if we get a Matters and a Kulu and a Solanke back, and we're a mid-table team, then there's literally no reason for him to stay. But, like, who are you going to get to replace him when the last coach that won something then got fired? Like,
I kind of think of it like, I don't think any players that come into this team make too much of a difference in terms of the way we play. I don't think so, and that's a big reason as to why I'm losing and lost complete faith in what Frank's doing.
Yeah, and like last year, I was able to watch us lose to Leicester and Ipswich and be less upset than us drawing against Brentford and Sunderland, because like you were trying and had no mids. You were trying and you were playing Ben Davies, who had the best game of anyone today,
by far,
as a center back last year, and we're like, oh God, we're playing Gray and Davies as center backs. I hope this goes well. And now we have all the center backs we want, and we don't have mids, and there's no progression unless it's just hoof it to Kulu, hope he crosses, and Richie actually gets his boot on it when it comes across the goal. Like, I saw a meme earlier this week that literally said, Tottenham won silverware for the first time in almost 20 years. So within the calendar year, they got rid of the winning coach, the winning captain, and the goal scorer that won the game. Because we need to make it clear here that winning's not how we do things.
Yeah, I will say with that, I mean, with Sonny, it was written in the stars anyway. So I know that gets tarred with we've lost our captain. That was going to happen, win, lose, or draw with that cup. But the other two, you're right, it doesn't look good. And what I want to go back to is when you were talking about Kulu, Matters forget for the rest of the season. But like you said with Kulu, again, what Tottenham's issue seems to be is we're not going to spend money. We wait for this one to come back. But this one keeps getting a setback, and it's like you need players to be of the level or higher of these injured players. So when these injured players come back, they are the backup, or they have serious competition to fight for, not just walk in. And with Kulu, it went from hearing loads of things with him to now hearing absolutely next to nothing about him. He's not even asked about it. Has he been asked about it in press conferences recently?
He's only asked about Solanke, it seems.
So, yeah, it's like you just don't know. And like you said, Ben, we don't know what we're doing in the window. We don't know if we're looking for a right winger because of Kudus, Johnson gone, and what's happening with Kulu. We don't know if we're getting a left back. We need a striker. It's ridiculous, but I get annoyed with Spurs now. We're pinning our hopes on these players that keep getting injured, where surely you should see there's a track record of Kulu picking up injuries, whether that's because we've overplayed him or not, that we can't rely on when he's back, he'll be good for 3 months, then we're going to burn him into the ground. We need better. Whether he's back or not, we need better.
Wait, because didn't he play like the whole season last season and like never get injured, playing like a tank 90 minutes a game every game?
I think he got injured at some point, didn't he, at Christmas? I think he missed some games, but then obviously at the end of the season,
I just remember he had the surgery back in like October, and we're like, okay, cool, it can't be long now. It's January and we've heard nothing.
Yeah.
And this game, like we hadn't played Sunderland this season, so we didn't really know what to expect. I think the Brentford game was miserable, considering that the previous game we had against them was one of the best we played this season. But like Mikey was just talking about, the next games we have Bournemouth coming up, we have Villa in the Cup. So God bless, something can happen with that, or we're just going to get dumped like we got dumped by Newcastle. And then we're going into West Ham, and we're going into Burnley. If we don't get 7 points from these 3 games, like, what is the rest of the season?
Yeah, 100%.
That's like a minimum. Like we were looking at 4 games that we could have gotten 9 to 13 points out of.
Ben, let me tell you this: if we do get 7 points, what's the rest of our season?
Yeah, then we have God bless February. And then, like, we don't know what happens when we get into March and we get, Forest, Sunderland, Brighton, Wolves. Like, if we have some players, will we be better at those games, or are we going to play the way we did the first half of the season? Like,
can I read you both a stat? 6.5 matches since Spurs last scored a goal from open play. Since Javi scored against Brentford, it's almost 10 hours against Slavia Prague, Forest, Liverpool, Palace, Brentford and Sunderland, where Spurs have not scored a goal from open play.
That's actually sickening. That's actually sickening.
Like, what do you do when you have your, and I forgot who it was, I think after the Brentford game, that was like, if he was going to come on and play like jammy, congested, boring football, but we won 1-0 every game, then fine, whatever, a win's a win, but it wouldn't be fun to watch. But like, it was almost more fun to watch and lose games and try than Frank try to like be pragmatic on a 1-0 and then we end up losing.
It's not a good stat, that's for damn sure.
That stat is the most damning stat for me. I don't know what else there is. We need a change. We need. We can't keep going on like this.
You could probably combine that with like, I don't know what run of games where we might have had 10 shots on goal in 3 or 4 games combined.
Yeah.
And you're like, the first half today, like, Bro was having a crack, Tell was having a crack, and then second half it was just like, stop trying.
Literally.
Like I don't understand the Bentancur-Palhinha pivot. I don't think it works. But when if you're supposed to bring on a Palhinha to be more defensive, are you then taking off a Bentancur? Does Basuma still play for us?
Nah, he's too busy. He's too busy with the balloons, mate.
Mate, if you see his penalty yesterday, mate, his penalty might
and
hit
I'm
the
not
studio
saying I
soon.
want to see him on the pitch, but if the Palhinha-Bentancur thing hasn't worked half a dozen times.
He's at the AFCON now anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. He is at the AFCON. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, also, I don't know if we get Sarr back, if it makes a difference, if he can start playing a more aggressive, like if he can be a 10 or if he can be like a ball-carrying 8, because he has good games, but he also doesn't. And we were talking about Porro earlier, who was laying it on a dime. Even for the first half of today was good, and then is not doing well. And I have Cudi Romero is a very good defender. I have seen far too many brainless mistakes for him to be the captain of a team. He is hot-headed. He's good at defense, but how many times now has he just kicked the ball in the middle of the field or done stupid Hollywood passes that legitimately we are scored against within a minute off of a pass from our captain? That is not acceptable.
Absolutely spot on.
Yep.
Absolutely spot on. Well, what more can we say? It's an absolute mess. It's a mess. Everything from the playing staff to the manager. I don't know, man. But I'd already lost faith in Frank, but that stat alone, 10 hours without scoring a goal from open play, that seals it in my mind.
I will say is sorry, Ben, I'm just being very quick with this.
No, you're good.
That is damning on Frank. But it is also the quality that we're not putting our chances away. But that stat hasn't happened before, and that is largely on the way Frank's setting up.
Yes, but as I say though, Leeds are scoring goals.
Yeah,
we've got better players than Leeds available.
Mate, we do.
I mean,
team unit, I don't.
That's on Frank.
If it works for Leeds to take the DCL, then maybe we can get Ilman and Dai. But why would Everton sell their most creative player?
You go put an offer, they can't refuse him.
I
You
guess,
go like a big boy club and say, right, what do you want? Here you go, there it is.
Do we trade him back to them for Rishi?
I would.
Hey, you can have Rishi back. Can we have Ndai?
Yeah, then we'll probably get Mawani injured and Solanke will have a setback, and then we're screwed up top, knowing our luck.
Honestly, what is it in North London that players that have never been injured before in their career show up, and then there's like, oh, we'll see you next year?
This is Tottenham. This is the history of the Tottenham.
Don't get injured, just get paid a shit ton of money, and then come back when you're ready.
Yep.
Yeah. Ben, it's a pleasure, mate.
Cheers, Ben, buddy.
Absolutely. Hopefully it'll get better. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers, Ben.
Daigle's on the run again. Daigle's on the run. All right, who let this jabroni in the back end?
You, man.
Who let this jabroni in the back end? KPV, how did you get on?
What?
How did you get on, mate?
Let me say something first, mate, because I tried to come on after the game away at Brentford, and it always comes up with meeting in progress, and it's not letting me come on. But finally, I managed to come on. Every time I click on the post where it says "Come join us," like Zoom hasn't been working. Get back to StreamYard, mate, because that works perfectly. But you're on this shit one.
You come on every week. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, Zoom hasn't been working for me, mate. I've tried clicking on the link, and it always comes up blank and doesn't work,
I think it
mate.
was because there were too many people in.
Well, that's why it was like on StreamYard as well, mate. That's why I've not been able to come on. But, yeah, like, I guess you sort this rubbish out. God's sake, man. Like, yeah, give me a break, man. What the hell's going on with, like, I've not been going to Tottenham home game, thank God. And I don't agree with Mikey. Like, we're not losing to Dortmund, mate. We never lose, mate. So get your act together, Mikey. We never lose, okay? Stop lying, mate.
We lost to them in the Europa League, didn't we?
That was under Poch, damn it. And, like...
So? You said we never lose. We lost.
We haven't lost, mate. Like, when we had Poch, but... when we played them in that Champions League, we started to beat them. And that was when they had Obama who? Obama what? Obama, shut your mouth, rude boy. Obama,
And that was as well, just after, as Brian said, that we signed Toby Alderweireld from Southampton.
Seriously, stop lying, man.
You chose the time to come back. You waited until this moment.
Stop lying, Ben. Like, don't make me to do something I'm not going to regret, mate, because...
that you're not going to regret or that you will regret?
You're not going to stop bringing that shit up again. It was Atletico Madrid. How many times do I have to repeat? It was Atletico de Madrid.
Are you sure?
You don't have to tell me. That's just what Daigle keeps telling me every day.
It was Atletico Madrid, Brian, because I've checked Google. We bought Toby from Atletico Madrid. My mate George Perry even told me when I went to college with him.
Your mate George Perry told you? You do realise Ben says this, or Simeon will say this every time just to get this reaction from you.
These two are pissing me off, man.
I know he came from Southampton.
And
who's pissing you off?
You two always seem to. And Ben, stop lying. I never had that scumbag, so I do not want to hear any more shit. It weren't me, mate. So
you
stop
did,
lying.
because Brian Daigle was watching the game.
No, stop lying, man. Fucking hell. Lies.
It's not lies. It's not.
Lies, man. Enough. I did not have that scumbag. Anyway,
I was lying when I said that Daigle was telling me every day about Toby Alderweireld.
Every hour.
But every hour, exactly. But I wasn't lying about that. I wasn't lying about that.
Seen it, all right? I did not have him, okay? I did not have him. So I've watched your FIFA 22 videos, and it's somebody else.
I've told you a million times it wasn't recorded. It was just a game that we played outside of YouTube.
Yeah, and I didn't play. I was watching a movie, so it weren't me. I was watching a movie when it was actually on YouTube. I watched your videos. It was probably episode 45, and you did, and it wasn't me. It was somebody else you played against, but it weren't yours truly. So that's that.
Must have been another KPV.
Yeah.
No, there weren't another me, mate, or someone else. Different.
You are 1 in a million, KPV.
There's only
sure,
one, mate.
brother.
And
KPV, the real question is, are you Frank in or out?
Oh my God, we're bringing this up. Like,
it's kind of the hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Mate, too early to tell, mate. Too early to tell. I can't answer that question. Too early to tell, mate. Like, I can't say anything. No comment, so I can't comment on that. Too early, mate. Like, the only way I will say it is if we lose to Arsenal, then I am. But we've got like he's got to have time, and if we beat Arsenal, which we can't seem to do, then I'm I'm still in, but I'm still thanking for
You're
time
not
being.
too
Like,
sure. Only if we lose to Arsenal. But if we lose to Arsenal, you're still franking.
no, I said if we beat Arsenal, I'm still thanking. But that's like if we lose to Arsenal, I'm frank out. But if we beat them, like we can't because they've still got a number. And Granit Xhaka won there in January 2023 with Arsenal. Like when Ramsdale was celebrating in front of the fans when a Tottenham fan kicked him, and the Tottenham players running. Richie was still having a little wail with him and told him to stop celebrating, but we can't seem to beat them at home. And we lost to City at home 2 seasons on the bounce, and we can't win. Haaland scores there. Like, we only beat them away, Mikey, so I'm not sure where you're getting the home form game against City. We can't win. Now, they seem to beat us there, but they've got Donnarumma, who's never played us, and they've got Goldilocks. That's Haaland's name, Goldilocks. And Goldilocks, yeah. My carer Ben said
they call him. They call Erling Haaland Bjorn Ironside.
It's Goldilocks, fella. And Ben, as I said during the watch along, you should do Ledley King SBC, mate, because I've got my ultimate team. I've done Ledley King SBC.
I don't have ultimate team this year.
You dickhead. You should have it, man. Go on ultimate team.
I
man.
haven't
Do
played
Ledley
ultimate team for about 3 years, maybe longer.
More than that, mate.
Coincided with you having 2 kids, that might be why.
4 years I haven't played.
Well, that was before I saw you and Sim at the home game against Brentford, and I've watched that watch along many times, and it was after you won the Europa League against Chelsea, and you sold Harry Kane. Like, what are you doing to me, man? You bought Docker and Isak, and
yeah, but this year we bought Harry Kane.
Well, do some more content on YouTube, then I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it. So
you'll believe what? What will you believe?
I'll believe it when I see it. You bought Kane.
But you saw that we bought on the last episode.
I haven't watched it, mate, because you haven't posted it. You haven't posted.
So why should we produce more content if you're not going to watch it?
I will watch it if you can post it. You've been busy, mate. I know, and I'm pretty sure you haven't seen a thing earlier. I put Joshua again, ole instead of Johnson. Yeah.
Alfie Divine again, ole today. That's the highlight.
It was Davis again, ole.
Joshua again, ole. Big up, mate, and happy late birthday last month, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure, man. But anyway, people, that's all for me tonight because I've got plans. I'm going basketball Tuesday, and as I said earlier, Ben, you're above my mate Chris Thornton. The Premier League is back, FPL Mini League. You're 7th and he's 8th. So
where are you?
And I'm way down, mate. I'm way down. Like,
well, you can't even beat me in FPL, but Ashley beats me every year. How can you not beat me in FPL?
Like, you can't beat my mate Jack because he's beaten me many times, and I was.
It doesn't matter about your friend Jack.
Like, anyway, people, time for these two to go home because they need to go anyway. But that's it from us today, people. I'll see you all on Wednesday because, we need to win, man. We can't, Sunderland haven't won on our ground since 2008, the commentator said, when they had Roy Keane as boss, who'd done a double. That was when United beat Chelsea in Moscow. So that was the last time they beat us. So, but since then, we can't seem to get a home win. We've only won 2. So we're still unbeaten in 2026. So we've got more games to play. So I don't want them lot winning a league because, as I said, I will be in Barcelona for another week if they win it. So I'm staying there until then. So I'm out of here, people. But
see you later, KPV.
Yeah. Later. Love.
See you later. See you later, mate.
Right.
The whirlwind that is KPV,
That's
mate.
it.
Big up to you, KPV. But I just can't get away from that stat, man.
It's
10
not good.
hours. 10 hours since we've
It's not good.
scored a
Whichever way
goal
you
from
look at it,
open
it's
play,
not good.
man.
Whatever way you want to look at it, it's not good. Like I said to you, I think think him storming down the tunnel is very telling. Is very, very telling.
I think I'm done, man. I think I'm done. Like
I have some evaluating to do.
I'm not going to sit here and go Frank out, Frank this, Frank that. But if he was to be sacked, I don't think I would care too much, to be honest.
Look, with me, if he goes, I've said it before. If he goes, he goes. I think we'll be here another 6 months, no matter who comes in, because it's what we do. This football club has to stop buying kids, hoping that they'll become it. Especially when we keep talking about kids that are coming through, and then you're buying more kids ahead of the kids you're trying to push through. This football club needs to start buying experienced, ready players that have shown a proven track record of doing it in the big leagues, that can come in and do the job. Stop pinning your hopes on potential and ones for the future. And should Frank go now, end of the season, whatever the next manager is, whoever he is, just say, right, here you are, Spurs fans, this is the guy. We are going to back him, and we're going to show you in the summer, whatever, and we're going to continue to back him. And just stick. How many more times are we going to get managers that play different styles and have players that are not needed for the next manager because it's a different style? They need to pick an identity. But right now, like I said, if Frank stormed down the pitch, which is unacceptable to me, and if he's come out and had a dig at the fans today, then I simply can't defend him anymore. I want it to work. People will know I want it to work so badly.
Everyone wants it to work.
But there's people, mate, there's blatantly people that don't.
No,
there are. There are.
People want what's best for Tottenham Hotspur. They just don't think Frank's the best for Tottenham Hotspur.
Listen, there's people.
If Frank were to win every game, then everyone would be behind
There's people that I don't. A majority, yes. I agree. But whatever. Spurs just need to pick something, stick to something, do something, and if it doesn't work and Frank has gone, yes, the quality of players may not have been there, but his press conferences, the way he's talking to the fans and other things, and those stats that keep coming out do not help his corner, do they?
No, not at all. And look, for me, it just feels like the beginning of the end, to be honest, and I don't know how much longer he's going to be here for. And it's going to be completely warranted for everything that you just mentioned. But that stat is just going to give me nightmares tonight. Yep. Absolute nightmares.
For bringing it into our lives.
10 hours of football without scoring an open play goal. And we had the audacity to clown on Arsenal for only scoring set pieces. And this is what we're throwing up week in, week out now.
Yep.
It's embarrassing, man. It's absolutely embarrassing how we play our football, how we get... what we're getting out of our players right now, what we're showing in games. It's embarrassing. Everything about it is just completely embarrassing. I did a poll. I ran a poll, Frank in or Frank out. 203 votes, 70% now are Frank out of you in the comments, 30% obviously Frank in. And that is the biggest gap.
Divide.
Yeah, biggest gap I've seen so far. I think that the highest we've seen so far is about 60%. And when it was Ange as well, when we did these polls weekly under Ange, it was always even, very even. So, look, the fans are speaking. The fans are speaking not only in this poll, but the away end last week, the fans spoke. And the home end today, the fans spoke. Fans are speaking at home every week in terms of their voices, not shown during the game and the loud boos after the game, but also how easy it is to get a Spurs. I've never known it so easy to get a Spurs ticket right now. Man City at home has just gone to general sale. Man City at home, general sale.
That I think as well is obviously we can't sell out for obvious reasons. Some of them with Sonny's departure. The ticket pricing across the board, not just Tottenham, across the board is messed up. But there's definitely now, whereas before I was like, it's all on pricing. There's definitely now an impact on Frank.
But it's on pricing because the price doesn't match up to the product that you're getting on the pitch.
Yeah, no, that I agree with.
If we were playing well, the pricing wouldn't, like, obviously it's expensive and it's hard to pay it. But if Spurs were doing well, that stadium would be packed no matter what.
That I can agree with. I'm speaking to people more and more that are like, oh, I can't go and watch this. So Spurs are in a very, very... They're going into this new era, and they're in a very, very difficult position right now. They either come out backing him to the hilt and give him everything he needs and go big in January, or we're just going to be here again in 6 months' time with a new manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just get through these super chats.
Let's do it.
Then... So... I don't know where to start from. What time did the game finish?
3:45, 4, about 4:45. Let's say 5. I mean 10 to 5.
All right, we'll go from 5. First of all, George Lister says, "What happened to Kudus?" So, I mean, he went off injured. We don't know what the extent of it is. Someone in the fan show said, you know, they're suggesting 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know. Haven't heard anything as of yet. Levy gone. All of Enoch yet. Next, say Moani is shit. End the loan now and put time and effort into players that are going to be here beyond this season. What do you feel about Moani?
Listen, I've said to you, like, the Brentford game, I loved what I saw him doing on the left wing. I thought he added something, and then especially in the Copenhagen game, that touch, the Berbatov-esque touch. But let's get this right. We brought him in to replace Solanke's goals and yes, we haven't played him there because Richarlison's been amongst the goals, but it hasn't been a success. Has he got any assists apart from in the Champions League? He's got goals and assists in the Champions League, but in the Premier League, he's come here to do a job and put the ball in the back of the net or at least assist, and he's not doing it. And like you said, we can go around here saying, "Oh, I love the guy's energy, I love the teamwork, I love the fight and the commitment." Those are all things you'd expect from a player.
13 games, no goal contributions in the Premier League.
Exactly. So you'd expect
on and off the bench.
You'd expect all this energy and everything and commitment and teamwork to be part of what he brings. We've got too many players that we keep saying, "Oh, I love the energy, I love the teamwork, I love the..." But when it comes to why we had... Look at Odegaard, who's doing a lot of good stuff on the pitch, apart from in the area where he needs to do it. So, if it, put it this way, would I write the loan off because he's not going to be here? We're in another situation. If we write him off, then we need to bring another striker in. So it's just catch-22, isn't it? It's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
The vicious cycle of Tottenham Hotspur. Daniel Wilson says Frank out along with his joke of a captain, Romero.
Romero's getting a lot of it recently, you know.
Yeah, and to be honest, with his performances, I wouldn't say it's completely warranted to be like Romero out, Romero this, but he needs to be doing a lot better. He's the captain of this football club now. These moments in games, the way he got sent off, the way he's giving away goals, the way he's giving away chances, not good enough.
Can I say, honestly, I saw on the fan show, and a few people commented this on social media, and I didn't really give it much, not time and effort, I didn't really give it much energy or thought process. But someone said, you know what, for the Crystal Palace game, when it was Danso and Van der Ven, we looked a lot more stable defensively than we do with Romero in certain games. And like what we saw at Liverpool when he had that bad ball that gave the goal away. Then
Nearly gave one today.
Yeah. Do you think there's something in that? Not saying that Romero needs to go and he's shit, I'm just saying.
Look, I think there's been games this season where we've looked stable with Danso there, and there's been games where we haven't.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of both, to be honest, and it's just about what they can be asked to do on the pitch when they turn up on the day. Next up is Southeast Coys, member for 10 months, saying USA's elimination from the World Cup can't come soon enough. Frank said he's not enjoying his time here. Bring Poch back, and who knows what it means. Well, it might come to that point in the summer. Have to wait and see. Vasif says, I feel like a Venezuelan living under Maduro regime. Mate, I feel worse. This one says, sack the manager, man. So negative, for God's sake. Easy Doggy says, Brentford lost their manager and coaches, captain Wissa and Mbeumo, and our 7th. What the fuck is going on? We're going nowhere. Levy would have sacked Frank, and I completely agree with that. I think Levy would have sacked Frank by now. Noah for Spurs says, nowhere near good enough against a newly promoted side at home. A good coach makes the players look better. This one makes them look confused and lost. 100%. Yeah,
I mean, I agree with that somewhat, but I'm not having the newly promoted side, because Leicester and Ipswich last season, we've had it where we've lost with previous managers as well to newly promoted
The year
sides.
before that, we lost to Burnley, right? Under Conte.
Well, that was
After beating Man City.
Yeah, but that was away.
Yeah.
That was away. But we've lost to this. But this again goes back to the culture of this football club, and the recruitment and the players that we bring in. They get up for the big games, and then against the teams
Some of
like the
them.
Burnley,
Some of them.
and then like the Burnleys and the Leicesters and the Sunderlands and whatever, they just think, we're Tottenham, we can just mosey on and do what we do. That has been a managerial thing. That has been a player thing. It's been a culture thing. There's no consequences for these actions at this club.
Left again says second half Frank's tactics were simply outclassed. They really were. Mr. Wolf says Spurs are basically Brentford 2.0, defensive, boring and getting a jammy goal. All of our players look hopeless and bored if playing this way. Frank out. I think Brentford had more about them, to be honest, last year than what Spurs got about them right now.
I agree. I agree.
Malware says Frank has zero clue how to manage a squad. This isn't handcrafted to his exact specifications for his tactic. And that looks absolutely spot on as well.
Malware is spot on.
Yeah.
Big up Malware.
But look, we're going to finish off on a Tottenham update, a few bits and pieces over the weekend that we have to update you on. And first and foremost, we are going to speak about the Brazilian 19-year-old Sousa, as Lucas Massetti says that Tottenham have had an official proposal rejected for Santos left-back Sousa. The Brazilian club rejected the approach and replied with a clear demand of 17 million euros for 70% of his economic rights, a deal which is considered unlikely. So we've already given you that update. But he then followed on from that and says that Spurs had another bid, 10 million bid this time, rejected. So I think he just gave us the price. But then some eagle-eyed fans noticed on social media that he's been just recently followed Tottenham Hotspur and followed Richarlison on Instagram. And The Athletic have also reported now that Spurs have had a bid rejected. However, other reports are saying that talks are progressing smoothly. Personal terms, no issue. And Sousa is prioritising move to Tottenham as he wants Premier League football badly. I just want to bring up this tweet from the Spurs Express regarding this. And I think it rings so true, man. Where is it? I think it just harks back to the Levy days, which were not that long ago. It looks like it's been rejected. It's been deleted. It's been deleted. But anyway, the general sentiment of the tweet was saying that Spurs lowballing for a 19-year-old Brazilian that nobody's heard of. Mm-hmm. Does it sound like a certain regime? So much for this ENIC 2.0.
Mate, like I said, I think it's when we had Wes the King on. Why are we going for an understudy left back? Destiny can't keep fit. As good as he can be on his day, he cannot stay fit. So if your first choice left back cannot stay fit, I'm sure this guy could end up being the next Roberto Carlos or whatever. But it's like, why do we not, when we can see with Kulusevski, like we would say, with these big injury problems, why are we looking for the understudy as someone who's always injured? Yeah. It should be like, right, we can't depend on you. You're going to have to prove and fight your way back in. We are going to sign a recognised left-sided fullback, left-footed left back, who is going to be our number one, and you're going to have to fight tooth and nail to get your place back.
Yeah, I agree. We need to buy a first-choice left back.
Yep,
that's what we need to sign. Anyway, that's that. Ben Jacobs reporting on Matty's Tell saying that Tell is unhappy at Tottenham and is set to leave on loan. Galatasaray are interested, with Spurs willing to let the 20-year-old depart after he failed to start a league game since October. Obviously, he started today and was an unused sub in the last 3 matches. So obviously, that was reported before the game today. A Turkish source says that Galatasaray are considering a loan move for Matty's Tell for the second half of the campaign. The manager values the Frenchman's versatility and the Turkish side are prepared to submit an offer if a reasonable conditions can be agreed. Tell is frustrated by his lack of game time and is open to a move elsewhere during the January transfer window. Well, that's off the back of as well, Alistair Gold also reporting that Spurs could end up loaning Tell out in this January window. Obviously, we know Spurs are looking for a winger to bring in. However, we've lost Brennan Johnson. Kudus is off injured now. Mm-hmm. Can we even afford to let Tell go?
Only as a make weight for Osimhen. We'll go, you can have Tell, give us Osimhen.
Yeah.
I just don't know what's going on. Tell had a chance to shine today. I think he did well in parts. But again, it's youngsters, and we need experience. And him going away and getting regular first team football, which he's not going to get at Spurs, whether he stays, if he stays, sorry. We need to get if there is anything in Matisse Tell, we need to get him regular football so he can show what he's made of, or B, if it's not going to work out, attract other suitors that can say, right, he's done well in Turkey. Let's take a punt on him, because we're not going to develop him and Odegaard at the same time.
But look at it like this, right? We all laugh at Chelsea for signing all these players and selling all these players every year. If Tell goes now, that means that 2 of our summer signings are gone before January, and 6 months later.
Goes again to the
Kota Takai and Matisse Tell. Obviously, they've both gone on loan and they'll probably be back, but it goes to show, like, we were told that Kota Takai was going to be part of the first team squad.
Again, you got to look at Johan Lange. You got to look again at the recruitment of this football team. It looks like, honestly, it just looks like club signings, and if the managers don't play it, there's no correlation to what we're doing. There's absolutely none.
Yeah. A publication in Madrid are claiming that Real Madrid are weighing up a move for Pedro Porro, as they believe Alexander-Arnold needs competition and they want the Spaniard as a reinforcement. How would you feel about Pedro Porro leaving? I don't think this is one for January, probably one for the summer.
Well, it makes sense. We haven't got any wingers. Let's just sell. We've only got one right back because Spencer. Let's just get rid of him and play Spencer and Davies. Well, look, I love Pedro. He's my second favourite. I love Porro. On his day, he could be brilliant. I think the whole problem with Pedro Porro, as we spoke about, is he is just overplayed so goddamn much for us. He goes away with Spain, does well. I would never want to see him go. Unless it was a stupid amount of money that it's just like...
He's having a poor season, though. Do you think his poor season comes from being overplayed, or do you think it comes from him just completely losing faith in what we're trying to do?
I think it's mainly overplayed. Because even under Ange last season, he had a blip where he was just... because he was overplayed so much, and then he snapped out of it. There's not a guy that's played more first-team football since he's been at this football club than Pedro Porro.
Yeah.
And he's played for how many different... It's Conte, Ange, now Frank, then you add the interims. They've all had a different role for him. At the beginning of the season, he was first for everything in defensive duties, wasn't he? And passing. The guy needs a rest. I could see him losing interest because... or the opportunities go back to Spain. We keep overplaying him, and there's no respite. And could you... If he wasn't Spanish, I'd have more belief that it would be committed.
So whether you're Spanish or not, if Real Madrid come calling.
I know, but saying the opportunity to go home, I just don't know. I just don't know.
What's the minimum you would take for him?
How long's he got left on his contract? 3-4 years?
Something like that.
The wife just tried to call him. Let me just let her know I'll message her when we get home. So, yes, sorry, how long has he got left?
He's out in 2028, so 2 more years. 2 more years in the summer.
Well, mate, the summer, that's when those kind of bids you got to start looking at evaluating properly, don't you?
Yeah. I don't know if I could even see Pedro Porro signing another one.
No.
So maybe we do have to think about it in the summer.
Maybe it is a thought.
Yeah. On Kota Takai, we know that he's gone on loan to Borussia Mönchengladbach. That evening, there was reports saying that there was an option to buy in the contract, but apparently the Athletic are saying that there is no option to buy in the Kota Takai loan deal, despite reports in Germany. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's what they're saying. Mate.
We are predictably unpredictable, aren't we?
Yeah. Jamie Donnelly. So Oxford have announced that they have signed Jamie Donnelly on loan with an option to buy, which was very interesting. Paul O'Keefe says that Oxford's option to buy for Jamie Donnelly is worth 4.5 million, which is seen as unachievable for Oxford. Their record signing is 1 million. First of all, why is there even an option to buy in the deal if they can't even? I just don't get it.
Yeah. No, mate, you and me spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? Surely the option... I mean, first of all, we don't want an option to buy in it anyway for someone like Jamie Donnelly. And then why are you doing it at an extent. I mean, Oxford, if I remember, they're in the bottom half. They got no chance of the playoffs or promotion to the Premier League.
They're fighting relegation.
So, why? Why is this even a thing that's been put in there? It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why put an option to buy it when the team can't afford it?
And we don't even want to sell him anyway.
And it's 4 times.
Unless we do want to sell
buy.
him. Unless we do want to sell him.
Then if we do, what is the hell of the problem? The whole point of the youth academy.
Well,
Chelsea do it and sell people for millions, as do Man City, and we do one of the brightest prospects that we've seen. We put a 4.5 million. Oh Jesus!
But it signals to me that if we're putting an option to buy, whether they can afford it or not, that we think he has some value, but maybe we don't think he's going to make it.
We're just being stripped for parts, aren't we, Nick? It looks like we're just being stripped for parts.
That's what it seems like right now. Anyway, Jamie Donnelly's gone to Oxford. Let's hope he can smash it there with Will Lancashire and rekindle that partnership that they had in that year for the under-21s. And finally, Alistair Gold is reporting that Tottenham have recalled Alfie Dorrington from Aberdeen, with various Championship and League One clubs interested in taking the centre-back on loan for the rest of the season. It's like whoever is organising these loan moves for these players, like, they need to lose their job, because, like, how many players have we recalled now?
Well, you look at it, Vuskovic, Devine, Phillips and Moore are having stellar loan campaigns.
Yeah.
Wherever they've been. Obviously, Mikey Moore took a while, but now it's with the new manager. Apart from that, again, it's been another catastrophe.
Yeah.
When it comes to this. Well, I mean, Dorrington, he'll go straight back out on loan. But where'd you send him? He was doing well at Aberdeen last season.
Yeah, not so much this season.
Exactly.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But in happier news, Jan Min Hyuk scored a great goal last week, or 2 weeks ago now. Alfie Devine has scored 2 goals in his last 3 games for Preston. One today. And Mikey Moore scoring in the Old Firm yesterday as well, which is massive. Him scoring in the Old Firm is massive. And I tell you what, like, with the fire sale of wingers that we've got right now, Tell going out the door, should we just recall Mikey Moore and play him in the first team? And Yang Min Hyuk. But maybe more Mikey Moore.
Yeah, do you know what? I think Mikey's having such a... Under this manager, he's really progressing.
Yeah.
And right now, would you rather he progress and is getting the minutes that we want him to have and experience he needs, rather than bring him to the clusterfuck that is Tottenham Hotspur right now?
Very true. All right. Well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comments section below all the thoughts that you have with all the news reports that we have given you. But that is it from us today. Wow, it's like 3.5 hour fan show, people. Wow.
Yep.
That's I think, what everyone needed, just to moan, complain, vent.
Hey, it's twice as long as the match.
Yeah, twice as long as the match. But yeah, I think...
More entertaining.
Well, yeah, I guess. But we'll be back tomorrow. Sim is back in the studio. We'll have to wait and see what he has to say on the matter. Brian goes back to being chopped liver. But yeah, what can I say, people? We'll see you all tomorrow. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.